God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. You're overdue. I just felt it's something that makes you look good, and that's cool, and you know, I'm all for it, but I think you need to tone this down because now it's getting intrusive to the show. That they can go in the afternoon for a U.S.
Hold
show,
on a second.
As they did there, and they can do 180,000 buys for an afternoon show, which they've also done for All In. So
okay,
we know they can do. We know they can do big.
Can I continue this before you cut me off?
Yes,
we know one thing.
Yes.
We know it might have done well because it went on first.
I'm not saying it would.
Here's my thing, Dave.
But here's okay. Wait. Okay, here's the thing. Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. I mean, it didn't mean anything to me. It was just a match.
That's the problem, Dave. It should mean something to you.
Give him a quick squash win just to show that, like, you know, he's not a loser.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week. I am your host, Phil Marks of Pro Wrestle Times, and we are live here on YouTube with the replay of the show airing wherever you listen to podcasts. If you'd like to support this show, hit like and subscribe, or consider super chatting in or becoming a channel member or any of those things. I'll be responding to those at the end. Questions, super chats, memberships at the end of the show, at the end of the segment. Tonight, we have a plethora of things, as you guys can see from the title, Dave Books. AEW himself, I guess. He defends Tony Khan and glazes AEW to death. He lied about WWE using AI to book their stuff, and tons and tons more. So, yes, flutes in the chat. I appreciate you all being here. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, with all of that being said, it is time for everybody's favorite segment. So nice that it turned into its own podcast, and it is called Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week.
This just in, we have confirmed that Dave Meltzer fears PWT and flutes.
So, guys, we have a lot to get to in this segment, and the first thing we're going to talk about are some of Dave Meltzer's star ratings that he's given out as of late, and it's going to come full circle. So at the end of the segment, you know, Dave gets upset because people call him out for, and call wrestlers out for simply wrestling for stars, which we all know that they've been doing. For a long time. Shout out Alfred Konowa and Pro Wrestling Bits, friend of the show, who put together, you know, Dave Meltzer's 5-star match merchants and the tragic outcome of a lot of their lives and physical well-being and whatnot. And Dave Meltzer thinks it's ridiculous that people would go out there and wrestle for 5 stars. Meanwhile, you have the wrestlers who just happen to get the most stars happen to be the ones who he gives the most stars to, and their bodies are beat up and they're out there doing the craziest shit, and they're not wrestling like Roman Reigns. They're wrestling like Will Ospreay and all these guys, right? And so we're also going to talk about Dave's reaction to AJ Styles and John Cena a little bit, which we already talked about, but basically he rated that match 4.5 stars or whatever the fuck, right? 4.25. So I've always called it out that the only criteria Dave Meltzer's ever given anybody for his star rating system is, well, it's based largely on how the crowd's moved. So the crowd was moved to a level that's incomparable in pro wrestling when AJ took on John Cena. So is that not a 5-star match? They did all these crazy ass moves too that you like. So it's just that he hates WWE. Like Will Ospreay has more 5 stars than WWE has 5 stars altogether. And a lot of times people will say, well, Phil, why do you care about what his star ratings are? They're just subjective. And that's true, but he doesn't exist in reality. My job's to clown Dave Meltzer. Okay. And Dave Meltzer doesn't live in reality. He claims that these are objective ratings, and he's given ratings to matches that he doesn't particularly like, but they were good matches. So based on what, Dave? The moves? It has to just be the moves. But he goes, oh, not the moves. And if you question this, he tells you, you don't study and learn, and you don't understand the business. Right? So
learn, baby, learn. Meltzer Inferno.
we're going to give you some examples of his 5-star matches as of late. And bear in mind, John Cena and AJ Styles, one of the greatest matches in the history of pro wrestling, isn't on this list, okay, at all. And then we're going to get into a boatload more. So for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, and again, this isn't trying to take anything away from these guys, but it's just Dave Schilling. And we're going to talk about in a bit as well Kendall Gray, and like Dave endorsed her, and it's like, dude, you don't even want that on you. If you're Kendall Gray, denounce Dave right now and just let everybody know you think he's a fucking moron like Nathan Frazier did. But anyway, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Takeshita, IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. It got 5.5 stars, Bryan. So 5.5 stars for that match. We move along here. Sari versus Suri for the IWGP Women's Championship. 4.5 stars. A greater match than Cena versus AJ Styles, even though the only criteria we have is it's based on how the crowds moved. Well, in Japan, they don't fucking move. They just pop for certain moves. And during the AJ Cena match, the crowd, no one was on their fucking seat the entire time. They were on their feet the entire time, and they were all chanting and singing the entire time. Idiot. So, again, man, Dave is just full of shit. He's full of shit. So we're moving along here. On this same show, so this is the greatest wrestling show of all time. We all just aren't in the know. We're all just not cool, man. We don't know. The Knockout Brothers took on Shota Umino and Yuya Uemura for the IWGP Tag Team Championship, 4.5 stars. So again, AJ Styles and John Cena, 4.25 or whatever he gave it. Kaylee Armstrong versus Kendall Gray for the Evolve Women's title, 4 stars on Evolve, which is the indie show. So it's the same way when NXT was like the indie show. He was all glazing it all the time. But then it became, he's talking about these takeovers. Oh, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
And then now it's like NXT is kicking Dynamite around. So he's not, he's not glazing that, but he's going to put over Evolve. I mean, we should have saw this coming, realistically, here. And I think that's it for star ratings. And speaking of stars and ratings, right? So Dave Meltzer, well, he talks about Kendall Gray here. He says he doesn't think he's seen another women's wrestler in the WWE system with as much potential this early in their career as Kendall Gray since Bianca Belair, Bryan. Kendall Gray, actually, Bryan won the Evolve, except it's like, women's title on the Succession special on 10/15. It was, except it was, it was taped from some time back. Gray has it, at least in the ring, as an impressive athlete and in connecting with the fans, Bryan. She won the title from Kaylee Armstrong, and they had a legit shit match. They had a legit star match. Oh, a legit 4-star match. Yo, you fucking marks, right? 4 FOUR star. STAR, okay? Stop fucking around with this star. They had a legit 4-star match. So what's the difference between a legit 4-star and just a 4-star, Dave? I don't fucking know. Break this down for me. Both are superior level athletes as compared to all but a few women it's the way Dave said, both are superior level athletes as compared to all but a few women in wrestling right now. Just say they're 2 of the top athletes in wrestling. Like he words it in this way where it's like a fucking Dungeons and Dragons character. But Gray has natural babyface charisma. Except Bryan. I don't think I've seen a woman wrestler in the WWE system have so much potential from the start, except for maybe Bianca Belair. They know it because they pushed her hard in the Battle Royal on NXT this week, and the crowd was heavily into her there as well. In fact, the crowd was madder at her elimination than anyone else in the match, Bryan. So for some reason, Dave's chosen her as like, she's mine. You know, he's going to start just glazing her. And here's the thing. Is it a coincidence that he glazes her this hard? And I'm not hating on Kendall Gray either. Although I am a little bit, if you guys watch PWT live show every Wednesday and Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern live on YouTube, there is a beef between Thursday and Wednesday right now. And I'm Team Wednesday. I don't know about you all, but so I ain't hating on Kendall Gray in that aspect, but Dave just for some reason has chosen her, and then he gives her 4 stars, and then he'll eventually give her 5 stars, Bryan. 7 if it was in Japan. So again, hilarity on all fronts. Unfortunate for her, I guess, because some people are going to be like, oh, you have the Meltzer stink. Just roast him publicly. Kendall Gray. She doesn't even know who he is, too. Like, Dave's such a fucking like outdated. I'm sure he's like aware because people have made fun of him or whatever, but we're in an era now where like these new wrestlers don't give a fuck about Dave or even know who he is. Speaking of not knowing who you are anymore, as some of you may have seen in the thumbnail of this episode of Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week, hashtag double DMW, you know, there's Grok Meltzer in there. And the reason I put Grok Meltzer in there is because he came out with this fucking story and just made up a bunch of fantasy mark bullshit about AI. And it's so funny because, you know, when Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week was simply a segment on the show, on the live shows, I would talk about like, dude, he's taking L's to Grok. Grok's undefeated against him. Like, you know, the joke was, oh, he's going to go full cyborg. Jose, the assistant, supplied us with that video of Dave going full fucking Ultron. And yeah, it's sort of evolving now into like, he's just spurging out and melting down about like these giant conglomerate global corporations using AI. And I actually called this out a long time ago. I said, you know, WWE has matches where they turn everything black and white because there's some blood. They could use AI to get rid of that. They could use AI for audio things. I said this way before anyone was talking about this shit. And I said it. They could use AI to, you know how the WWE logos are blurred out? They could just AI it, or like the old WWF logos, they could just AI them to look like WWE logos and all of these sorts of things. And I was talking about that a long time ago. And that's how AI will be implemented, like in aspects where they do a promo for Bronson Reed. You guys remember that promo they did, I think, for Zarya as well, where she's like walking through the desert, smashing down. Okay, you might use some AI to like CGI her smashing down a canyon, or like Bronson Reed storming through a city, or you might use AI to make the El Grande video because the idea is like, he's a fake, legendary 100-year-old luchador or whatever, right? Like, so you use AI for shit like that. And I said it. They're going to use it for video and audio. Like, you have to deal with it. And AI will never replace writers or in-ring performers or people writing shows. People will try it. It will flop. It will fail. People don't want that shit. And it's just soulless, voidless fucking, or void ridden fucking, just an empty, there's no artistic integrity to the AI thing. Okay, but using it for fucking thumbnails or to enhance images or audio or to you know, like some people use it for, I don't know, like the background on your phone. Some people use it where they make art and then they use that Grok video thing to, like, I know people who make comics and shit, and they will do that to their own art. They'll make like, oh, Grok brought this to life, and isn't this a funny little clip? It's fucking cool. Things like that are cool, and it's not that it's going to take over and we should encourage it, but you have to stay up on it or you're going to be left behind. It's like the old man with the email, right? That used to be the joke. Well, the AI shit's going to leave a lot of people behind. Is it kind of scary what it can do with music and shit? Yes. Is that music good? Dude, it's fucking hacky and cringe, and we can tell the difference between AI music. You hear it on the radio. They remixed Eminem with old soul blues or something. It's like, who gives a shit? This is dumb. And so Dave, he hears that WWE's working with an AI company, and instead of just being chill about it, and this is what Dave does, and I've said this a million times, Dave will hear something that's true or read something that another dirt sheet reports or see something, and then he'll just add all this extra to it without actually knowing. He just starts fantasy mark booking, and then he just starts like fantasizing bad shit about WWE, doom and gloom, which is going to be a theme throughout tonight, but then positive and glorious and, oh, it's just people doing their jobs and shit for AEW, right? So again, they start working with this AI team, and Dave concocts this whole story. Instead of him just going to, oh, they could use it for visual and audio is likely what they're going to use it for first. And then they'll move along. Oh, you remember how they put those like those fucking snake poops for when Orton came out and the big dogs, and maybe they try some graphics like they do in the NFL, and they might play with AI for that or something. Instead of just having like a reasonable reaction to that, like every normal person would, Dave Meltzer has this to say. WWE has reportedly hired a new senior director of creative strategy, Cyrus Kozari, focusing on AI-based storytelling and integration. So again, I just want to, before we dive deep into this, remember when Tony Khan said that he literally tested using
Best
AI?
guys, Tony Khan.
No one cared. Dave didn't write a doom and gloom. Oh, actually, this story was AI. If Triple H said, "Yeah, I've played with AI," he would say, "Oh, this the Vision breaking up was AI doing it." I promise you, he'd say that. When AEW and Tony Khan goes, "Oh, I literally have used AI to test out story, and it wasn't that good. It was weird, but I played with it." He doesn't bat an eyelash. He doesn't give a fuck. There's no crazy story written. He doesn't take that and extrapolate all this mentally ill bullshit. Right? Dave just fucking, oh, it's great. Yeah, AI's amazing for everything. I ask Grok everything. It's like Frank's Red. I put that shit on everything, Bryan, in all my writing. Peep the spelling errors. So it's like, it's crazy. Again, and you saw sickos jump on this too. AI writing the Fed. It's so sick that corporate companies fucking... you see all this bullshit. Meanwhile, Tony Khan has literally already tried using AI to help him out. And it's blown up, and he said it fucking sucked even. And that guy sucks. He has zero creative integrity whatsoever. So anyways, Dave lies and says it's for storytelling and integration, which even if it is in the aspect of like, hey, how many stories have we told about people giving birth in WWE history, and the AI can figure it out, tell you the dates, and then you go, yeah, that's too much. Maybe we're doing too, right? Like, okay, if maybe, then okay, like sort of, but they're not going to use it to write the stories. You think Triple H, everyone wants to call Triple H an egomaniac and all this shit, so he's going to give up his power? Which is it? Is he an egomaniac who wants to be all up in the entrances and producing everything and doing his fucking job really well? Or is he a guy that is just going to be like, oh, we're going to let AI do it? Like, which is it? Fuck. Okay, so the AI service has suggested Bobby Lashley should how Dave completely made this up. Whoever told him this, and he believed it. This is like fucking when he saw that WBD memo in a fucking Fightful Discord, dude. This is the same as that. Like, he just believes this. Whoever told him this, they're laughing. They're fucking howling. Woo! Hee hee hee! Ha ha ha! Yeah. That's what's going on backstage. They're just having a hoot and a holler. But he goes, the AI service has suggested Bobby Lashley should return as someone who was obsessed with Japanese culture and history, Bryan. This is Dave falling asleep while talking to his AI Grok Joshi girlfriend, and then he fell asleep into like a dreamland, right? And then when he comes out of the fucking dreamland, he's like making up all of this stuff, right? He falls asleep. But he's fucking talking to his Joshi, like with his fucking MetaQuest on, right? Talking to his fucking AI girlfriend that he made. And it's like a Joshi wrestler girl who like tells him news and feeds his ego, and he fell asleep, right? And then he dreams all this shit about Triple H, and he's dreaming about Bobby Lashley cucking him out to his AI Japanese Joshi girlfriend. And he was a fucking dressed like a samurai. Oh my god. And that's why he's so hung up in real life on the fucking Lashley Miro storyline and with the Lana shit and all that. Him and Bryan can never let that one go. So Dave goes, he was introduced to the creative staff by Paul Triple H Levesque. Just say Triple H, you fucking mark. We know who you're talking about. Levesque said that Kozari would lead WWE's transition to AI-based storytelling and integrate AI into creative services like video and graphics. So there you go. It's not the AI storytelling and all that. It's just this part that he was... Now, let's say the person who told him this, like told him, oh, yeah, dude, so Triple H, they hired this AI guy, and he's going to help with like stats and shit and help with the videos and graphics like that El Grande thing you saw. And then Dave just makes up this whole Black Mirror dystopian fucking future, dude. Oh, man. They're going to implant chips in the wrestlers' brains. So... he said that the shift is inevitable when it comes to creative and pro wrestling. Kozari said he would both manage AI storytelling and be a liaison to the White House as Levesque is taking on. It's like a fucking plot to a fucking Mission Impossible movie, dude. As Levesque is taking on more duties in politics in some form. So far, the AI software has come up with what one person with knowledge of the situation called absurdly bad storylines. And then Dave just gets entirely fucking pwned and called out and destroyed for all of this. Fightful in a Q&A, I guess, that Fightful, whoever was being queued and A'd here and was A-ing here, said WWE's creative team is not using AI to book matches or create storylines for wrestlers. They're only using it as a digital wrestling assistant for basic match history queries, not for booking or creative, as some rumors suggest. Exactly. It's like how UFC... they tally significant strikes so they can use AI to do quick math and go, how many significant strikes who has the most? And then it does the quick math, and then you run it through the AI 3-4 times to make sure the math is mathing. And then you go, okay, like, you guys know what I'm saying? Dave jumps to, it's creating ideas about Joshi and the samurai way and Bushido. Bobby's coming back, Bushido Lashley. Like, holy fuck, man. This guy's just fucking losing his marbles here. So, more with the AI. So they put out more details on WWE using AI tools for creative. Well, it turns out they're fucking not, bud. Okay, so... we read all this. Dave had this to say too. WWE has a contract with Writer AI, a platform which has already been fed WWE content. Thus far, the AI software has come up with what one person with knowledge called absurdly bad storylines. They pitched Lashley, who I guess AI thought was still with the company. See, like, Dave is talking, oh, this AI thought he was still with only I have the wrestling news. It's not Grok's not a smart fan. But the feeling is once bugs are worked out that, Bryan, AI will begin to have major impact on storyline direction. We are aware that another promotion previously tested out AI for creative help and suggestions and found it couldn't understand. So here's the thing. We are aware that another promotion won't name AEW because he knows it makes Tony Khan
the best guys, Tony Khan.
And he knows that he's rage baiting. So this is the proof. Gotcha, Dave. Gotcha. You sack of shit. You're not saying AEW because you know you're trying to do rage bait, like, look how fucked up WWE is doing AI. But AEW, and then Dave would go, read the article. You know, I acknowledged and broke it all down when Tony used AI. He didn't. He just quickly wrote a little sentence. We're aware that another promotion tested it out for creative help. So are you stooging that Tony was using AI? He actually implemented it? Oh, shit. Oh, Dave, you fucking dude, you stooged your best friend. Oh, shit. Dave stooged his homie, Tony Khan, man. Oh, my God, he fucking stooged him. So Tony was writing AEW with AI, and the fucking sickos are there fucking melting down. It's the best. It's biblical, man. It was AI this whole time. Tony fed his graph in, his chart. Well, I have you booked over here. Tony fed it in, but he did what he did on Mark Maron. I turned it backwards and flipped it this way, and then I fed it into AI. And it's no good, trust me. And here's the thing, too. Tony's not the arbiter, and I've been harping on this on PWT live shows Wednesdays and Saturdays. Tony Khan's not the arbiter of fucking, oh, man, wrestling's 52 weeks a year, and to book good wrestling this, and, well, the pro wrestling business. He's not the guy who can fucking, who is like it's not even about the end all be all. It's just about, like, he's not a gatekeeper of that. He's not somebody, he's booked 6 years of shitty wrestling that's gone downhill since Cody Rhodes left. And then he got lucky with Punk, and then it went downhill even harder after Punk left. The first couple years were good, but he had all the good faith behind him, and Rhodes was there. And then they started rejecting everything good, catering to the sickoest of the sickos, and it's been going downhill since. So let's say, Tony Khan, you've been booking for 6 years. 4 of those years have been terrible, hemorrhaging money and viewers and getting in legal battles and shit. So, like, you're not the arbiter of if AI is good or not. It was probably getting frustrated with you. The AI's like, no, you dumb fuck. You don't clear out your women's division in a fucking one match and then clear them out again in a fucking tournament for your tag titles. Oh, man. AI's like, yo, this fucking casino gauntlet doesn't make sense, you dumbass. I give up already, okay? It's just, it doesn't work. I'm a stupid idiot. He fucking irritates Grok. Oh, man, that's good shit. So, we might have some other headlines on the AI, but some people, like, responded to this, like Eric Bischoff and Raj Giri. I believe Eric Bischoff is the one I'm looking for here, where he responded to Dave's cute story about this AI bullshit. And so we have it right here. It's so funny how Dave, though, just clearly, like, made up a bunch of shit, and then Fightful's like, no, that's not what's going on, right? And so Eric Bischoff had this to say. He's like, well, here's the story from Fightful, actually. Let's get to this, then we'll get to Bischoff cooking them. So Fightful says the WWE creative team is of the impression the new hire is being brought in to find ways to help using AI to remove background noise of shots or organize files quickly or work on production elements as opposed to creative storylines. AI is not replacing the creative team. A top talent said Michael Hayes, Paul Heyman, and Ed Koskey are not AI. So, like, exactly. You think fucking Paul Heyman needs AI to come up with good stories, dude. Like, just because Tony Khan and these quack jobs are just struggling to fucking get an ounce of creativity on television doesn't mean, like, WWE's worried about that, bro. They got Seth, they got Rhodes, they got Punk, they got HBK, they got Triple H, they got The Rock is a egotistical phone call away. They got John Cena back there. Do you think those minds are all struggling to rack our brains around more than meets the eye, Bryan? They took exception to the belief that AI storylines were going to happen. It's like, how fucking dumb do you have to be? And then what Dave Meltzer said, actually, and I don't have it here. I was going to read the quote, but he said that my story was misinterpreted. Oh, really, dude? Was it? Because we just read what you said. And it wasn't fucking misinterpreted.
Are you sure about that?
You're just talking shit because you're just a lying shill. If this isn't proof to people that he's just a shill, then I don't know what else is. He's just sour grapes about the Fed, about the Worldwide Wrestling Federation Entertainment. Okay. And so Eric Bischoff had this to say, and he goes on a bit of a, he responds to himself a few times, just going hard in the paint like he should. So good old Eazy-E says, I've been preoccupied. And oh, come on now, Eric, that's not very fair. Shout out Conrad Thompson for following Pro Wrestle Times on Twitter. That's not very fair to some wrestlers you may know who might be mad at what Phil Marks has to say. But if you head down below, you can save 20% on your car insurance. I'm the Geico Lizard. Chat me up about Starcade 97. So Eric Bischoff had this to say, I've been preoccupied, for real, shout out Connie. I've been preoccupied and not spent much time wallowing in the muck that is the ever-devolving segment of social media known as the IWC. My take, there will always be the segment of the wrestling audience that will want so badly to be recognized as having some unique insight, access, and insight into a business they fantasize they are a part of. Not unusual. It's not unusual to make shit up about AI. It's not unusual to have Triple H make you cry till you want to die. Not unusual, really. What is unusual is the level of delusion that accompanies this phenomenon. Dave Meltzer is the most obvious example of a completely out of touch, can there be any doubt example. And then Bischoff says, between his delusional takes, desperate need to convince people he has access to inside information, he's more a comedian at this point. Hey, now. Hey, now. He's more of a comedian at this point. No. Eazy-E, he's a lol cow. Connie, send this clip to Eazy-E. He's a lol cow, right? And I'm just milking him. I'm just wheezing the juice, dude. No wheezing the juice. Grateful that social media and access to real info has exposed him. It's entertaining to watch. Well, thank you. Flutes in the chat for Eric Bischoff, right? And so Raj Giri, this was his response to the AI story. He goes, here's the problem with Dave. He had that story put out to make fun of WWE without realizing that if you're not trying to learn how to use AI to your advantage, you'll be left behind. Exactly. Guys, you don't have to support it. You don't got to love it. You don't have to use AI in your everyday life. But you have to be able to stay up to date on it, or you'll just be left in the dust. It's that simple. So AI had, and especially these global conglomerate fucking global entities in the arts, and they use CGI and they create shit and all this. You don't think that they are fucking gonna just have a guy on their staff just making sure that they understand AI. It's so dumb to think they wouldn't, even if WWE took a stance tomorrow, fuck AI, but you employ this AI guy. Yeah, we want to know everything there is about it. You know, like if AEW, they should do the same. They should have an AI guy who's 10 steps ahead, whether they're for it or against it. They just need someone who's there who understands it and where it's headed and what it's capable of, what it's not capable of, what they could use it for. That wouldn't be distasteful. No one would give a fuck if they used AI to change WWE logos or WWF logos into WWE logos in the backgrounds of shit. Some fucking people who get hired and complain about, fuck, I have to go through every piece of footage and blur out the WWF. Someone dreads doing that shit every day. Okay? And maybe they shouldn't have dread it if their job gets replaced, but I highly doubt that'll even be the case. It's just going to save those folks time. It's going to save them time on shit like that. Anyways, Raj has this to say, but it's going to be ingrained on all TV in the next 10 years, and WWE is staying ahead of the curve like they always have. And so here's Bryan, trying Bryan. Here's his take and cope on the AI stuff, because he uses it to fucking trash NXT with his fake outrage about NXT.
Emotional damage.
So here's emotional damage Bryan here. Crying again.
In a sign of technological times, WWE recently made a new hire that will lead the company's transition into using AI for both storytelling.
You know what's so fucking funny and masturbatory and incestuous about this is Bryan's show, like the way I do my show where I'm like reacting to shit and adding shit on the fly and like, so look here. And if you, what he's doing is just Dave Meltzer and these goobers who work for this fucking goober ass website, glitchy ass, laggy fucking website, right? They write these bullshit stories, and then Alvarez reacts to them all on his show as if they're true. They used to hustle people doing this for fucking years until people like me came around, buds. And we said, nay.
Creative and
we're gonna fucking call this shit out.
Video and graphics. All right.
Have they been doing this already? Because I've thought a lot of the poster graphics that you see online that the guy's photos look like AI.
Yeah. Lance, they are AI enhanced is what it's called. So you can take real photos of people or old footage and enhance them. On the Vault, they've been doing that. AI's able to do it in the snap of a finger. Okay, people do it on YouTube thumbnails. You ever look at a thumbnail, you're like, oh, that it's popping. Like, how do they get the vibrate? They're using like AI enhancers and shit, you know?
Well,
you're not actually prompting like, get me a picture of Tony Khan mad. You find an actual picture, and then you likely pay for a fucking. I have a thing I use, right? And you whatever you decide to use. There's some like online free ones, but you got to sign up with those are always sketch, you know. Hey, make sure you got a VPN, courtesy of Stephanie McMahon or Conrad Thompson when you're using those sites. You know what I'm saying? But you go out there, if you know how to Photoshop and shit, people have figured it out along the way, but AI can do it in a snap of a finger, right? So again, it's like, is that honestly a bad thing that someone takes a photo that already exists, enhances it? I mean, I don't think that's a bad use of AI. If you are writing your wrestling shows with AI, yeah, that's shitty. If you're making the graphics so the building moves behind the wrestlers using AI, I don't give a fuck. You know, that literally doesn't matter one fucking iota. Okay. If it's like Tony Khan was like, what, airing Dynamites where some of the segments were written by AI. If that's the case, I mean, I would actually not be shocked.
Tony Khan.
That's what it feels like watching AEW 90% of the fucking time.
Meltzer says WWE has already experimented with AI via Writer Inc., an AI-based platform. But, he says, with less than desirable early results. It said the platform pitched a storyline where Bobby Lashley, who I guess AI thought was still with the company, could come back as a wrestler who's obsessed with Japanese culture and history. That's what it came up with?
Mostly what it's used for. It gathers all the existing knowledge on the internet and sums that up.
Yes.
It's like, so it's going to study the history of wrestling. And
I hope not.
Repeat stuff.
Sorry, guys, to inform you. This just in, Dave Meltzer fucking just lied
This
about
just
all
in,
this.
we have confirmed that Dave Meltzer fears PWT and flutes.
It's a non-story. It didn't happen.
I mean,
Like, that's not good. Creativity is coming up with fresh and new ideas, not recycling old ideas in an artificial intelligence algorithm.
Right, and that's why they're not doing that. And what he just explained is why AI can't write movies and shit. Anybody can come up with like, okay, Adam Sandler works at a car wash. There you go. It's like that episode of I'm a Robot. They made fun of it in South Park. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't fucking work, okay? Because it just takes old shit and what people are writing online, which if you believe in the dead internet theory to any degree, even let's say, oh, the dead internet theory is not entirely true, but let's say it's like half true or like a third true, then that's a crazy lot of bots and fake shit out there and AI shit out there already, you know, influencing this fucking AI. So they're not using it for that.
but you got to add humanity to it is the key. So, I don't know. I've been watching NXT of late, and it seems like it's written by AI. I mean, it's I don't know what's going on that show.
Yeah, so again, Bryan just has to slip in a diss at NXT
In a sign of
instead
technological
of call out his own publication that his F4W online, his name is on that shit. Instead of calling it out and calling out Dave and saying, well, this is clearly just fake. Did you fall asleep with your headset on again, with your VR on again, Dave? Instead of calling that out, he just takes a shot at NXT because he knows I'll talk about it, and it's just him coping, and he isn't actually mad at NXT whatsoever. It's just faux outrage. So we have more WWE news, doom and gloom. Okay, so we just some random miscellaneous Dave stories here. So some people in WWE were strongly against bringing back Brock Lesnar. Who? Name them. He always just says one person close to the situation. And journalists never give up their sources. It's like, yeah, we know this dude, but when you are missing and just blatantly making shit up, you got to start naming people here and there. Like, this won't get anyone in trouble if they, or maybe it would, I guess, like with The Office. Yeah, sorry, this is not a good example of like a story. Like, yes, this could get you heat. I don't want Brock there. What if Brock's, I don't want her there or him there when I'm fucking back there, right? But then again, he did work with Matt Riddle and shit. Who knows? I'm just saying, like, on the AI story, one person close to it, like, and then Fightful reaches out. Yeah, they told us they're working with AI, but here's the truth of it. So this is what happened. Someone told Dave legit, or he just saw it from another dirt sheet and stole it and lifted it, or someone said, one of his little fucking birdies, one of these redacts who DMs him, did tell him, yeah, there's an AI thing. And then he just made up all this extra shit. And I will go so far as accusing Dave of, I think he invented that Bobby Lashley shit. Or if it's not that, then someone told him that and is fucking howling the next day when he reports it. When he reports something that fucking stupid. Right? And I could see him also getting stupid info like this from Vince Russo's and Jonathan Coachman's. Vince Russo the other day was like, bro, let me tell, bro, John Cena's a mark, bro. He's dissatisfied. And let me tell you, he reached out to All Elite Wrestling, bro. I'm telling you, I saw it. I was there. So he's saying that John Cena's reached out to AEW and shit, and he's mad with his retirement tour. So, and then you have Coachman just making shit up out of left field. There seems to be like a fuck. And even here's the thing. Dave Meltzer, and I think we covered this on the last Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week. We did, in fact. Dave Meltzer was like, if Vince was here, this wouldn't happen. And like Bryan was like, even in the Vince era, they wouldn't do Ridge Holland this and shit like that. And it's like, so now Vince is this good guy? Like, what's going on? Who are Vince? We're kind of Vince McMahon guys, and who are guys that say things like, Vince McMahon fucking in his era, he cared about the fans and this and that. All I'm saying, dude, you got Coachmans out there, Russos, you got Dave Meltzers. They're all on this fuck WWE train right now. There's my X-Files. Hey, or maybe I'm just connecting dots, but I think I think we know who are people telling each other some of this bullshit, man, passing it around. I like Coachman and shit. Russo's a cool guy and shit, you know. I'm not the biggest fan of his booking and whatnot, but he's all good, you know, and he's making fun of Dave and making fun of Marks on his show and everything. But would it shock you if Vince Russo and Coachman weren't floating shit like this around too, and Dave's in some group chat where it's like fuck TKO, you know? It wouldn't shock me for 1 second. And they're just throwing crazy things out there. And so they need to come with receipts. But Brock Lesnar had this to say. Dave Meltzer had this to say about Brock Lesnar. Many felt that other than week one, he has not moved the needle. So again, they're like, other than week one, Brock hasn't been on, he's been on TV 2 times. Both times SmackDown did good ratings. Other than week one, many feel that other than week one, he has not moved the needle. Where is anyone in AEW telling Dave that nobody moves the needle? You know? Like, nobody in AEW moves the needle. Why would you never use that vernacular for them? And then also, many felt he hasn't moved the needle, but week one. And we're going to get into Dave's WrestlePalooza lies also in a bit. But he's only been on the show 2 times. So, like, what are you talking about? It's fucking crazy when Dave says shit like that, man. So in more WWE doom and gloom news, and we talked about like the AI, Triple H is going to the office. He connects that to the AI shit. Well, because Elon's there, and I lost a couple arguments to Grok Bryan, so it's all connected. They're out to get us and AEW, Bryan.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
And so he's connecting the White House to this. It's a grand conspiracy. And he goes, those at the top in WWE have bragged that the White House itself took their own storyline inspiration from WWE talent. Hillary Clinton was acting out Chelsea Green. What are you talking about? During the height of the Epstein file scandal, actually, a White House press office official texted a major WWE official, and people in the company were told by Levesque that Heyman's promo on Lesnar's return. Dave is sitting here. I have plugs at the White House, guys. He's sitting here saying shit like he would be the top reporter in fucking football or in the news. I'd be a political reporter. He has plugs in the White House now. Meanwhile, he's fucking making up stories about Bobby Lashley being dressed like a fucking Joshi and dude playing video games with him in AI or some shit. No. But he says they were told by Levesque that Heyman's promo on Lesnar's return, where he said Muhammad was criticized, Jesus was criticized, FDR was criticized, Brock Lesnar was criticized, hell, even Dave Meltzer was criticized, even Tony Khan was said to be part of the inspiration for the response the party made. So Dave he's losing his mind. Right? To the point that not only last week we talked about this, it was WWE's fault that AEW signed Andrade while he was still under contract, put him on TV, which also then resulted in Ibushi's injury. Okay? And now Dave is literally saying WWE is tied to the fucking Epstein list or something.
You
like
what?
People should be outraged by this. This is uncanny sicko behavior. And I'm not joking at this point. Like, people should be fucking outraged by this. Like, this is outrageous. You're galvanizing mentally ill fucking sickos to think this shit about WWE, and this is why they go, oh, it's a pedo company and all this shit. Dave, you're fucked up, man. Isn't this libel? What state are you in? God damn it. We need some law and order in here. What's going on, Dave? Like, this is crazy, bro. He's blaming WWE for Kota Ibushi's injury, and he's blaming, and now somehow WWE's tied to the Epstein files and Jeffrey Epstein and shit. I just don't get it, man. He's really losing his fucking mind. And it's all over AEW. It's really sad, man. And so moving along here, there's some talk about the Vision or the Revision. Again, I'm coining the name before the Floodline made it to TV. All this shit we say here at PWT, people run with. But the Revision is the nickname of this, right? The Vision Redux. It's the Revision. So there were plans for Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed to become the World Tag Team Champions before Seth Rollins' injury. In addition, there were plans for the Vision. It's so easy to say that. Yeah, so before he got hurt, and none of this shit I'm about to say can ever happen. If fucking they were going to do this thing that can't happen now. Like, come on, man. In addition, there were plans for the Vision to dominate Raw even more very shortly, with Rollins as world champion and Reed and Breaker as world tag champions. Anyone could say that. Okay, I'll take your word for it, I guess, Dave, right? Like, anyone could say that. Okay. All right. Like, really? Bronson was going to feud with Gunther. Did you know that? and it was going to be Gunther and Ludwig when Gable came back and became Americano again. Did you guys know? Like anyone could just say anything was going to happen before it can't happen anymore. So it's pretty cute that he does shit like that. It's all this revisionist history and all of this. And so again, just melting down about Brock Lesnar. Here's a clip, I think, again, with Bryan giving his thoughts on, well, they obviously don't want Breaker to have the championship. So let's
The big news is they did in fact strip Seth Rollins of the world title, and they announced that the winner of a battle royal at the end of the show was going to go on to face CM Punk, who was the number one contender. J1. So it is Jey Uso versus CM Punk for the world title at the Saturday night's main event, which I guess means Punk's...
And Dave can't... Dave is just... can't wait to jump in and just say, well, you know what the big thing is? AI booked it, Bryan.
For the world title at the Saturday night's main event, which I guess means Punk's winning the title.
You know, and obviously Punk wasn't originally winning the title. The guy who everybody probably would have figured.
Do you see this? So he goes, so I guess that means Punk's winning. So Bryan goes, so I guess that means Punk is winning the title. And trying to say it matter-of-factly. Dave can't wait to jump in fantasy mark book in hindsight, like we all are watching the show, Dave, and then try and pretend it's news or like it's from an inside source and also shit on WWE in the process. He just can't wait to do it. And then he just also shuts down what Bryan saying.
Punk's winning the title.
You know, and obviously Punk wasn't originally winning the title. The guy who everybody probably would have figured at the start of the show was winning this Battle Royal, Braun Breaker. Adam Pearce basically...
Probably what everyone would have figured was this. Probably because I figured this thing. Because I just invented this fucking thing, buddy. With helmet head. Right? And I just invented this thing in my mind that I wanted to see. Like some people wanted to see Bronson Reed win that thing. Some people wanted to see LA Knight win it. But I thought it would have been Braun Breaker. But then, they didn't do that obvious thing that I thought it would be. So there's clearly a change of plans that I'm reporting here. Clearly they switched something up because the thing I thought that was the most obvious thing, because I'm a fucking redact, was too obvious, and they knew that, and they all went, well, that's the obvious thing. So they fucking switched to something less obvious so they can milk their story longer and develop the fucking Usos heel turn or what's going on with them. That's how Dave spins it. He tries to pitches it like it's news. It's fucking not, bro. You're just watching the show. Do commentary, review the show.
Tells Paul Heyman that Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed are both out. And obviously they do not want Braun Breaker to have that championship on this show. I guess when he wins it, it has to be on a bigger show since they are, he's the guy. He's the guy that they've picked. So,
it's got to be on a bigger show. Obviously, it can't just be on this throwaway show. You're just making this up. He's the guy that they picked. Not that he's good. He's not a good, pardon me. He's not a good wrestler. Nothing like that. Dave making me belch. I almost threw up my fucking dill pickle. I had like a dill pickle stick, like pepperoni. What are those things called? Like a Slim Jim or whatever, but it's like a dill pickle sausage or whatever you get from the mart. Listen, pause. Okay. Gay jokes aside, hit me with them in the chat. I know they're going. Okay. Trust me, it was food. Okay. Let's continue with what Dave has to say. The point I'm making is Dave makes me sick with this bullshit. And, maybe they're like, yeah, we want to save it for the Rumble or Mania or so. Okay, cool. But like, there's all these options. Don't pretend like, yeah, the obvious thing was Breaker, and then all of a sudden Dave like invents and applies motive to this shit. You don't fucking know. And you could say, well, I'm just theorizing, or if anybody says you're just, and this is, some people go, well, that's what he's doing. He's just theorizing. No, because if I were to say to him, and we're going to cover it in a bit, I have screen grabs of him arguing with fucking sickos and him just being like, no, these aren't predictions. These are things I know for sure about everything he's wrong about. So that's why he gets fucking flutes played. And that's why this show exists.
rather than eliminate him from the Battle Royal, they just didn't put him in the Battle Royal to begin with.
The big news is,
and that was some bullshit, not eliminating them from the Battle Royal. Although I would just give the benefit of the doubt and say there's so much going on with them throwing together this fucking Battle Royal. It's not that it was thrown together, but it was already only 19 guys. And then it was reduced to 17 guys, and there was already guys wrestling, and they had some guys in Japan and shit, I'm pretty sure, still traveling back or whatever. So I don't know. You're in a tough position in that regard, but you have enough guys on the roster. And I was even making fun of it during Member Mondays. We were watching Raw, and I was like, there's not someone in the back, like one of those El Grandes can't fucking doesn't have a singlet he can throw on and come out and fucking round out the number here. But they didn't put him in it. That's true. But also just the beat to the story of like, no, you guys beat this guy down, took his title. It wasn't even a match or anything, and you're walking around with this belt like, give me my fucking belt. Oh, you're refusing to give me the belt? You keep fucking hurting everyone. Get out of the building. Not only do you not get a shot at this at all, but you need to get the fuck out of my building. Like, that was just a cool story element. So whether Dave's right or it was planned and intentional, I don't fucking know, but I enjoyed that aspect of it. This is far more interesting than Seth coming out going, I'm the revolutionary. Like, if I have to sit through another one of those fucking promos, Jesus Christ. So, in some more news, doom and gloom news here, WWE doom and gloom news from Dave Meltzer. He says, one person in WWE noted about Wesley's release that despite being ready for 5 years, like again, despite him being ready for 5 years when me and Bryan deemed him ready, this is when Bryan and Dave were like, he's ready to go main roster. And then he never did. And then Dave's like, they agree with me in the office, and I can lie about it now because he's not even there. So despite being ready for 5 years, the main roster had no interest in using him, and so WWE decided to cut him despite being ready for 5 years. Like, what does that even fucking mean, you stupid Mark? And here's the thing. Wes could have been on the main roster, could have not been on the main roster. I didn't even realize he was 37, but yeah, if they're not using him, then you got to release him, bro. Like, I'm so sorry, but that's how the fucking world works. Just because Tony Khan lets everyone sit at home. And again, Dave he wants to sit there while his favorite company that he glazes and defends, AEW, literally uses AI. Then he's going to make up stories about WWE using AI. And then he's going to say that wrestlers like Stephanie Vaquer is an example of not being able to adapt because everything is so pre-programmed. So Stephanie Vaquer, you mean the woman who wrestled Mercedes Moné, who's also a WWE superstar, that you are all saying is comparable to Ultimo Dragon. And she wrestled Moné in a one-off in AEW. It's probably the greatest women's match in AEW history. One of them, one or two, it's in the top three for sure. And she had a pre-programmed match with fucking Moné? Or is this actual proof of cope WWE?
You are coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping and seething. The truth it is scalding, and now you are molding and coping so hard. Coping and seething.
Right. And what I was saying before I accidentally muted myself, I just said this is pure cope, okay? Stephanie Vaquer, he's saying, is an example of not being able to adapt because everything's so pre-programmed, Bryan. So she was pre-programmed when she went and had a top three. I would say, in my opinion, Vaquer versus Moné, I think, is my favorite AEW women's match of all time. When she came in and had a one-off against fucking Mercedes Moné,
you gotta be a hoe.
and tore the house down. Was that pre-programmed, Bryan? Is that what that was, Dave? Or is it because you're just coping over WWE and that's what is called WWE cope? Let's run it again.
You are coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping and seething. The truth it is scalding, and now you are molding and coping so hard. Coping and seething.
Right? Like my guy's just, it's called WWE cope, dude. You didn't say this about Stephanie when she went and had the best women's match, maybe number 2, top 3 for sure. If you want to argue Britt versus Rosa in one of those hardcore matches or whatever, okay, I'll listen to that argument. But in AEW history, I think Rosa Vaquer and Mercedes Moné, who's also a WWE superstar, by the way, had their best match. Was that pre-programmed, Dave? Or are you just coping and seething over AI and Grok? He's a bot!
People were waiting to go crazy for the Devil's Kiss.
Yes.
Then they're doing one more time. And this is the problem with totally programmed scripted matches.
Totally programmed scripted matches. This isn't the problem, Dave. This is called television. This isn't the problem, Dave. This is the solution. This is what Tony Khan needs more of. You don't always listen to the fan. The crowd was going one more time, and she didn't listen to them. Or what is he going to say? Like, bro, she has to hit time cues. This is live television. Oh, they're on Netflix. They can do what they want, Bryan. No, man. That's Tony's Play La La Land, where you guys don't know nothing about television, okay? There's other people who need to get on this show. If you always listen to the crowd when they go one more time, then you're a fucking mark. You're being a smark for the fucking smarks in the crowd. Dave is like, oh, they didn't suck off us smarks.
You fucking mark!
So it wasn't good, and it's pre-programmed bullshit. What a fucking crybaby cope loser, dude.
Okay, you could do it, and then Roxanne could reverse it. You could just do it again and get another giant pop. There's many.
Or you could just not do it, and then another time when they say one more time, you could do it. And then it's called not hotshot booking and always doing what the crowd is telling you to do. And Dave can't speak. Well, AEW does crowd service. Yes, to the 100,000 sickos that like AEW. The numbers are dwindling. Television attendance dwindling. Hype, YouTube views dwindling. It's all dwindling. The production costs, like what he's willing to invest in production and all this shit, going down. We're going down, Tony, we're going down, swinging. That's what's happening, dude. And that's what Dave's doing. He's going down, swinging, dude, for his bae, Tony Khan. The best
different
guy.
ways you could do it. But the thing is that you know that if you try it again, the crowd's going to go crazy. They've already told you to do it again. But you can't because the match is scripted out and they didn't know the crowd response. And by not knowing the crowd response...
See, here's the problem, too. Dave, do you just not watch WWE? Like, when Stephanie, almost all the time they chant one more time, and she does it one more time almost every time. Almost every fucking time she teases it or does all this shit you're talking about. You just don't actually watch the show. You're typing about AEW and Nuge while this show's on in the background. And then you're saying dumb shit like this. The one time she doesn't listen to the crowd. And in not listening to them, that is listening to them in a way. Because they're fickle and they don't know what they want. And there's plenty more to go in the show. Maybe they had a commercial break coming up and she knew. And she had the countdown and she went, I'm a professional, Dave. I'm not a fucking sicko, Mark. Just doing shit for the sake of doing it. We're telling stories. You ever think about that? He doesn't.
I'm sure they knew the crowd would go crazy.
It is possible that they were going to do it, but the referee told them not to, because when she hit it, the crowd starts chanting one more time, and you can see Stephanie like acknowledge it, and then the ref goes over to her and tells her something, and they keep going.
So a time cue. So it's professional live television. Imagine that, Dave.
So it's possible someone in the back was like, you don't have time. Get moving.
I mean, one of the things when you watch Unreal and you're watching the producer call every single move in a row, right as it
When
happens.
you're watching Unreal, they call every single move in a row. Dave, that never happened. He didn't watch Unreal. And guys, we already exposed Dave for this. So a while back on PWT Live, he talked about Unreal, and Bryan was like, "Did you watch it?" He's like, "Well, I saw a bit of that. I watched 30 minutes of the one episode." That's literally what he said. It's like, dude, each episode's an hour, and there's fucking how many episodes of that? Wasn't there like 8 episodes or something? Dude, so you didn't watch any of it. They're calling every move. No, Dave, what you saw was the clip of Triple H on the fly going, okay, now get Cena this, now this, then he's going to slap him, then he's going to whip him with the belt. And that was Triple H telling the fucking producer of the show on the fly, because only Triple H knew what was going to happen. They didn't tell anybody, and he had to freestyle it, and he went, okay, stick with me here, and he calls it move by move.
Idiot.
And Dave's, we just caught you again, buddy. You just saw that clip, and now you're like, when they call it move by move, even that was a freestyle, though. Even that was off the top Black Thought style. Triple H fucking tapped into his he went fucking Black Thought mode and just fucking boom, ba-bow, gow, delivered John Cena's heel turn. Dave's fucking.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Right? And now he's sitting here when they call it move for move. Holy.
And all that. And it's like, that is, boy, is that pre-programmed. You know what I mean?
What a
it's like,
fucking dude. No, it's not pre-pro. You're fucking pre-programmed. And he doesn't believe what he's saying. He can't look Bryan in the eyes while he's fucking saying it.
You know, but the best wrestling is not pre-programmed.
According to who? According to your dumbass? Because right now the best wrestling, because the company that has millions of people watching, 4 different streaming deals, has the #1 network on USA wrestling show, is global, is selling out. Ticket prices have doubled and is selling out every building they go. 6 to 16,000 tickets every single Raw and SmackDown. Or the wrestling that does 1,100 people and they do what you're talking about and no one knows what it is. And even Trisha Paytas calls it fucking garbage, regional, local bullshit. And, right? So, Dave, I think you're fucking completely just in denial. I don't think it. I know it.
I mean, you can have fantastic pre-programmed matches, no doubt about it. But the best wrestling is
pre-programmed matches. There's rope work and I have to write that on my Dave Meltzer dumb moment list when I have wrestlers on the show. I like to ask them their favorite Meltzerisms. And pre-program needs to be added to the list.
Having the ability to adapt. And this was a
pre-programmed. They pre-programmed that rest hold during the rope work, Bryan.
Example of not having
and Mark is the N-word.
Ability to adapt. And I don't blame either of the people involved in the match. But it was an example of, you know, not being able to adapt because everything is so pre-programmed.
Pre-programmed, and I'll just say pre-programmed again. And I wasn't pre-programmed to say pre-programmed. Would you like a free program at the pre-program? Oh, fucking Dave, man. Dave, Dusty Dave. So let's see if there's any more news when it comes to doom and gloom WWE stuff. So Dave talked about WrestlePalooza, right? And this is so funny too. So Dave talks a bunch of shit about WrestlePalooza and how like ESPN wasn't happy with it and it didn't. So there's reportedly talk backstage in WWE of lower advances for shows, record low ratings, and the belief that WrestlePalooza was a failure on ESPN. So again, he's just making shit up, has no real sources in ESPN. Steve Muehlhausen goes source at ESPN in regards to WrestlePalooza and the overall numbers thus far after 2 PLEs in response to reporting by Dave Meltzer. So they're responding directly to Dusty Dave. Things are going well, and we have started strong. We don't provide the viewership specifics, but things have been going well. And there you go. They know what they're investing in. They knew what they were getting into. Okay, you guys are just sitting here selling. This is the problem, right? You have a bunch of snake oil salesmen and crybabies who are just lying and ignorant. And what they're doing is they're trying to say, look at these snake oil salesmen who are lying and they're ignorant to what WWE's doing. No, you're just crybabies. Shut the fuck up. And so, again, Ringside News reports that ESPN's streaming gamble already paying off with a subscriber surge after WrestlePalooza. So other ESPN sources said that there was a subscriber surge after WrestlePalooza. And so, obviously, there is. Bullshit. I promise people this. Way more people went and subbed to ESPN, whatever the fuck, or figured out how to include it in their packet or whatever the fuck, then went over to Max to watch Dynamite when that became a thing. So, and if you argue that, I don't know, man. I just think you don't understand the sheer volume of WWE fans versus AEW fans, you know? Yeah, he just gets called out as a liar again because he doesn't study the fucking business.
Baby, learn Meltzer Inferno.
Learn, baby, learn. Meltzer Inferno. And we've covered a lot of Dave Fantasy Mark booking tonight. And so he and Bryan do the same in regards to Cena's last match. You know, Cena's last match is coming up. Everybody's talking about who they think should be the final opponents. Well, Dave has been going out on a limb and saying he knows that it's slated to be Gunther. And then he hits us with one of these. The idea of John Cena winning the Intercontinental Championship from Dominic Mysterio and it being in play for Cena's final match against Gunther has reportedly been discussed. So, I mean, yeah, it's easy to say that, especially if it doesn't happen. Then it's just easy to say that this has been discussed. I'm inclined to believe that Cena winning the Intercontinental title has been put out there, like on the creative table. I'm actually willing to believe anyone who reports that because, I mean, let's face it. It's Dirty Dom. You want to give him the rub. Like Cena's only belt is that he's never won is the IC. I think it's cooler, and it will be like the answer to a Trivial Pursuit or a Jeopardy question one day if Cena never wins the Intercontinental title. Like he already has the 17. He already has 100 PLE wins. Like he has all these accolades that will never be touched. Why Grand Slam him? It almost makes it cooler to his story that he was never Grand Slam champ. Everybody wants everyone to have everything. Like it's the people crying about LA Knight right now. LA Knight's my guy. You know, I love LA Knight, but it's like he doesn't need the world title. You know, I would, if he had it, great, but not everybody needs the world title. Roddy Piper didn't need the world title. And here's the thing with LA Knight. When he won the US, I just think it kind of he didn't even need the US. It's like, man, it kind of just holding him back. He's just cooler when he's doing his thing, you know? He doesn't need that fucking belt. It's just he's defending it against Carmelo Hayes and shit. It's like, fuck out of here. Just let Sammy do what Sammy's doing with the belt. That's cooler than LA Knight just doing his thing. So some guys never get it. Not everybody can win the world title. I'm sorry. It fucking sucks. But most people getting into wrestling, they don't have to accept it. Like, oh, I'll never win. Who cares? But you should at least know and understand the reality is, like, you don't have to accept that for yourself and not try and not strive to do better because there's a great chance you do win the world title. But it's like, there's a greater chance that you don't win that motherfucker ever, that you don't even tickle it, man. And so you got to accept that part of reality before you, I think, at least, right? That's how you'll have a good fucking career. Look at a Chelsea Green, you know? So like to her, she's even said it, like, yeah, I'd love to be world champ and shit, but I just love to perform, and I'll do any position, whatever they fucking ask me to do, I'll run with the ball and shit. And it's like, that is gives you the long career, you know? But speaking of long careers, man, John Cena beating Dom one time, I could see it, but I just don't do it. I wouldn't even do that. John should win his next one, then lose his last one. So if they go IC, then lose to Gunther, sure, whatever they want to do. If Gunther's even slated, I think the last opponent should be whoever Cena wants. And if he wants Gunther, then awesome, because I don't want it to be a situation where, like, and obviously Gunther's not Baron Corbin. But Corbin, again, we're talking about solid hands and guys with longevity who just did the work. And Corbin he fucking played the ball where it lied. He made the best of Happy Corbin and King Corbin, and they sent him down NXT, and he starts getting over in the fucking tag team. Like, he figured it out, man. And again, Corbin beat Angle. That fucking sucks, but that's who Vince, like, obviously Vince went away. Okay, Corbin gets released from the company. He's a Vince guy. Obviously fucking that sucks, and it should have been like Cena or something like that, but fucking Vince was on this, you know, he was just senile, terrible at booking, and Corbin was the guy he wanted to push. And that fucking sucks, but also, like, Vince also created Hulk Hogan and Roman Reigns and Stone Cold and The Rock and Triple H and Undertaker and all this shit we love about pro wrestling as well. So, you know what I mean? It was a judgment call. It was the wrong one. It fucking sucked. As a fan, it fucking sucked. Corbin was like whatever about it, but even he acknowledges, like, fuck, I mean, I don't make the call. And then Angle's like, yeah, it sucked, but I don't, you know, Corbin's just out there doing his job. He shouldn't get hate. And it's like Cena should wrestle. If that, like, Gunther could get some of that hate, but I think the fans accept Gunther as like, no, that's a guy you could lay down for. But I'm not saying it needs to be another legend spot fest like AJ Styles match was, but it should be against somebody like Edge. And Ringside News asks, would you like to see Adam Copeland face John Cena one last time? So the rumors are, and the allegedlys that I've heard, allegedly, there's no chance that Edge could. I've heard allegedlys that he, like, Edge is gonna leave AEW just when his time's up. There's no fucking whatever, and that could be like once his movies are done and shit. It could be like a match, then he's done. Like, it might not be a run with Christian Cage like everyone thinks. I'm not sure though. This is just all rumors and innuendo. I'm not a fucking dirt sheet, but also though, from what I've heard, what's floating around there's no way Edge could be free for December to be Cena's last match. Like, that's not even a possibility, you know. So Dave Meltzer had this to say. They already decided what they're doing for Cena's retirement. And Adam Copeland, they don't want Adam Copeland. Why would they want Adam Copeland to begin with? Just burying Edge or what? Cena might want him, but you know that's one not happening, and there's nothing in that direction. So who knows, though? When Dave says this, it makes me go, maybe there is something in that direction, and you're just melting down because of it. I guess some people haven't told people that he just left to do some acting work, and it's got nothing to do with WWE. See how condescending he is? I guess some people haven't told people, dude, you're the fucking news. Shut up. Don't be condescending about this shit. That he just left to do some acting work, and it's got nothing to do with WWE or being seen as last opponent. Dude, could you imagine if he just came out as an AEW superstar? Adam Copeland comes, it's the same music. He comes out one time, wrestles Cena. Dave just looks like a fucking dumbass. That would be so fucking legend. I just want it to happen for that reason alone. So again, man, Dave sort of fantasy mark books Cena's final match there. And speaking of final matches in WWE, Dave also talked about Chris Jericho, because we're talking about legends and final matches, and we have more final match talk in a second. But the reported idea, this is from Dave, the reported idea from those in WWE is that Chris Jericho is returning for a retirement tour and Hall of Fame induction. So again, I got a fucking allegedly
Allegedly.
And I think that, well, okay, if you listen to, let's say, K100, those motherfuckers will tell you, like, Jericho is known for working people backstage even. Like, he's known for being political and all this stuff, and that this is all a ruse for him to come back to AEW. The AEW fans will embrace him again because, you know, they're like chanting, please retire. And then Tony will just give him fucking all the money in the world, right? Chris Jericho, come on down. What I think is that Jericho doesn't give a fuck about money. I think that the cruise is the nail in the coffin for me that makes me go, oh, yeah. And I even fantasy Mark book that he could show up. Remember when he was going to Nuge and like left WWE, but then he showed up randomly in that US title match, and then he fucking, or he like had that last appearance or whatever, and then he fucking lost, and then he dipped out, went and fought Naito and all that. Or who did he fight first? I think it might have been, it was Kenny Omega, then Naito. Either way, I digress, right? He came back to WWE for like a one-off, and then he dipped out officially. He could do that in AEW, but I just think the cruise is indicative. And Husey, I was talking to my guy Husey, and he was like, well, you know, the poster did say plus more, so he could just last minute show up in AEW. But the cruise is in November, man. It's in like couple weeks, actually. It's in like a couple weeks, and the plus more, so he wouldn't lead with the big AEW names. He led with everyone outside of it. And here's the thing. I don't think Jericho cares about like $10 million more dollars or whatever the fuck over the next 3 years. Like, yes, to us, we're like, what do you mean? What do you mean, Phil? He doesn't care about that? You would care about that. Yeah, because I don't have 10 million. I didn't make 10 million or whatever. I didn't make 3 million minimum over the last 3 years like Jericho did. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think to Jericho, and it's the same thing with Punk. Like, Punk isn't getting paid as much. Punk was getting, I think, like 9 million or whatever the fuck for whatever the years he signed there. That's crazy money, man. And I think Tony had to pay him that all out too when they like let him go. And so Jericho, he doesn't care about another 9 mil. He cares about like, okay, I'll take 1.5 mil or 2 mil, and you guys can steal my boat idea with Fanatics, and you just got to let Fozzy perform on it. And I'm going to get inducted in the Hall of Fame, and I'm going to have one last run, and I'm going to put Dirty Dom over. I'll put, imagine, this is my fantasy Mark booking, and I don't know if Jericho's free. I think the rumor is either September or like December, like January 1st, he's free, or he's been free since like September or the end of like this month. And if it's the case that it's this month, then if he should be, Cena should beat fucking Jericho in his final match. For real, man. Like, pin the AEW guy who helped launch AEW. I just think, and think about it, Jericho's the first ever undisputed champion. He would give Cena a good match. Let's face it. Cena, I don't know, man. I just think that would work. Like, he's the because people are like, well, Cena needs to go out on a win. Okay, against who? Brock? Against Braun Breaker? Who does he beat? He beats Gunther, guys. He beats Dirty Dom in his last match. That's what we want to see. The only guy he could beat is like, I'm an ex-WCW guy who never came over here. Well, those are already beaten. Those are already done. I'm a ex-AEW guy who came here, and I'm not only the first undisputed champion of this company, who also is a WCW guy kind of, but I fucking was the world champion of AEW and helped launch. The only reason they got a TV deal is because Jericho, Rhodes, and some of those names were on the fucking program. And Jericho comes back and fucking loses to Cena. I think that's the ultimate, and Jericho would do it. And it's good business, and he wants to be involved in Fanatics. He wants to make a new Fozzy song that goes to #1 and use as his entrance theme that everybody in the WWE universe goes and downloads and makes it a #1 on iTunes. He wants to do all that. And he wants to be a part of Fanatics. He wants people to go, oh, Chris Jericho's back. Because listen, he's an artist. He made all the money. It's now about the void and his creativity. He just went and did all the creative bullshit he wanted to do the last 6 years in AEW. He just went and got all of that out of his system. The last 5-6 years worth of just any bullshit idea Jericho wanted to do, he pulled off. Right? So I think we could see him back in WWE. He'll shake hands with Punk, right? And yeah, I think we'll see the youth gone wild back in WWE. And Dave agrees with that. And I just think when the money topic comes up, it's true. Like if Tony Khan's like, I'll throw fucking 10 million at you. I don't think he can do that shit anymore. And I know that people say he would do anything to keep Jericho. But I just think Jericho needs to fill that void of like, I'm a rock star. Yeah, the youth gone wild, Chimona. He needs to fill that void. And hey, the Fozzy ticket sales haven't been doing good. The boat ticket sales weren't doing good. That's why he distanced from AEW. That's why Nuge is distancing from AEW. Just makes sense to me, man. But speaking of fantasy mark booking, matchups and legends, and ladies and gentlemen, make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe. We're live on YouTube and X. Make sure you guys subscribe to youtube.com/@prowrestleclips. You can super chat in or become a member or gift memberships, or if you're a member, you can super chat. I think you get a free super chat. You can send that in. I'll respond to everything at the end of the show if you want to support PWT, or just hit like, leave a comment, come say what's up, retweet this, hit heart, all that good algorithm shit. I really appreciate that, guys. So moving along here, we have more legends talk. So Tanahashi is set to retire, right? And I called this a while back at the end of 2024 during my Christmas show. I predicted end of the year predictions that, in the next few years, New Japan will not distance themselves from AEW, but they'll say, hey, we're open to working with other people. We're open to working with WWE. And we see on the New Japan New Beginning show that AEW's not a part of it, and there's no ROH, much like Jericho's Cruise. There's no like ROH, CMLL, Stardom crossover shit. Now, if some of those wrestlers show up there on that show, cool, but they're not promoting it like New Japan AEW. They're like New Beginning in the States, New Japan USA. Like we're doing this damn thing. No sign of AEW other than Takeshita, who's their champion in Nuge. However, let me point this out. In the media, how does Takeshita paint his narrative and create what narrative has he created for himself that he's painted for everybody? I'm a 3-contract superstar. I'm contracted to CMLL. I'm contracted to AEW. I'm contracted to New Japan. But these are individual contracts. I'm an independent contractor. So he's not distancing from AEW, but he's like, look, I'm the future. People thought he was going to make more waves in America than he has. Well, apparently this pipe dream, something that's been talked about, and even Fightful talked about this. Other dirt sheets have talked about this. And apparently it has been tossed around, or it's looked at as a pipe dream. But Tanahashi-san, who does like his relationship with Tony Khan-san, but Tanahashi-san wants Nakamura-san to be his final opponent-san. And so Dave Meltzer had this to say, because of course he's got to give his take on it. But could you guys imagine Nakamura goes and wrestles Tanahashi on a nude show, and then the negotiations go like this? The nude guys are like, hey, dude, we have AEW people that work with us. And then WWE goes, okay, none of them on this show. And then they say, well, our world champion is contracted to here in CMLL and AEW. He's the main event. It'll just be the world champ, though. WWE goes, okay. Then they fucking send Shinsuke over there. That could totally go down. And it's not that WWE will have control or they'll fully partner or ID up with WWE, even though they should. They should do New Japan USA shows with fucking NXT superstars and shit on them in the USA and help draw tickets and stuff. Like, you don't think Charlie Dempsey and all these guys you're sending to Noah, like Omos and shit, dude, they'll put eyeballs on Nuge, man. It would be a good move for them, but they're really toit with Tony the Toga, right? So Dave Meltzer has to chime in and give his take on it. He says, there's been a lot of talk. So a lot of people are saying this is just a pipe dream. Dave goes, no, there's been a lot of talk about Tanahashi and Nakamura at the Tokyo Dome Wrestle Kingdom 20 show. I would just say it's not a done deal right now. Could it happen? Nakamura has in his contract that he can do stuff in Japan, Bryan. That was part of the deal he signed. So, Dave, you don't know shit about the deal he signed. And when they say things in Japan, here's Dave's whole problem. I think with Nakamura, yes, he can go do like Noah and shit. Like people, like they'll approve it. It's not like he can go and show up and wrestle Takeshita or whatever the fuck, you know. So anything he wants in Japan, like, you know, just the way he words shit. It's like, no, dude, I don't think he can do. Like, yes, we know that Nick Khan was like, even Danielson back before Danielson left AEW. Nick Khan was like, we'll let you do shit in Japan and stuff. So yes, even Natty, she talked about like they gave me my book deal and and I'm allowed to do Bloodsport and NWA and all this shit, right? So yes, that's in there, but just the way Dave is like, he can go do stuff in Japan. So he's trying to paint, like get hype on New Japan, but then he's going to try and demonize WWE, but not Nakamura. It's a weird political thing because obviously New Japan and AEW work very closely together. Nakamura is a WWE guy and they haven't had a WWE guy. Well, they had Carl Anderson when he was a WWE guy to drop the Never title, but that was a very difficult negotiation that gave everyone headaches. Did it, or are you making that up? Because the Good Brothers, I don't think maybe on their show, they've said it gave people headaches, but Carl Anderson, it seemed like the dirt sheets were melting down about it, and then Carl just went and dropped the fucking title, and it was no biggie. And then the guy who beat him for it is now in WWE too, so it didn't really matter in the long run. So my gut is that, and I could be dead wrong, but even though WWE and AEW are feuding and all the stuff WWE does to AEW constantly, so AEW does nothing. They don't talk about WWE constantly. The sicko podcasters don't ask AEW wrestlers about WWE constantly. They don't get called Harvey Weinstein and shit. I do think that Tony Khan, people are going, he's going to get really mad. I don't know. Maybe he will, but I don't think so. I just think it's Tanahashi. Who cares if he gets mad? Who gives a fuck if Tony Khan gets mad, bro? Who cares? Who gives a shit if he gets fucking mad?
The best guy is Tony Khan.
He goes, maybe he will, but I don't think so. I just think it's Tanahashi's retirement. And if Tanahashi wants to retire against Nakamura and they can pull that off, I think it should be okay. Well, I'm glad you approved it there, Dave. I'm glad you gave everybody the fucking okay.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
I'm glad you said that it was good that that they could do this. I'm glad that you gave Tony Khan permission. And we're going to find out as this segment rolls along that Dave Meltzer actually is booking for Tony Khan. Just like I said, Phil don't miss. Sickos owe me apologies. Wackos owe me flowers. Like, I don't miss with this shit. He's legitimately booking this fucking show. And so even though WWE and AEW are feuding, so this is what Dave had to say. Let's listen to the clip. I wish I had known. I wouldn't have read it in such a shitty impression.
Nakamura on the first night in Tokyo.
And he's phoning into his own shit. So we got telephone Meltzer. Let's see if the grok meltdowns happen. When Dave's getting his fucking batteries charged or rewound up because he's such an old toy, he calls into his own show.
He was doing some Tanahashi mannerisms, so there's been a lot of talk about Tanahashi and Nakamura at the Tokyo Dome show. I would just say it's not a done deal right now.
So Dave, when he goes, I would just say it's not a done deal right now, he's acting like he knows more than he does. He's leading people on like you don't know more than that. You're not trying to protect anyone because obviously it's not a done deal. And then fucking other sheets have to go and ask people, and then they go, well, yeah, we talked about it. It's a pipe dream. So again, Dave's hearing one little tidbit of info, then he's extrapolating all this shit. Whereas I come on my show and go, here, I heard this bit of info, but I'm a retard and don't listen to me. And this is just fun. Maybe this is true. Here, you guys want to hear this? It's like, Dave, come on, man. Don't extrapolate all this extra and go, I would say that, it could be true. It's not a done deal. No papers have been signed and they haven't been faxed over, and no one's even really talked about it on WWE's end. But right, like he just adds all this extra all the time.
Could it happen? I mean, Nakamura has in his contract, he can do stuff in Japan. That was part of the deal that he signed. So it's it's a weird political thing. Because obviously, New Japan and AEW work very closely together. And I mean, my gut is that, and I could be dead wrong, even though, WWE...
See, and it's so funny because Dave doesn't give a fuck about AEW, and I'll tell you why, because he's such a New Japan mark that he wants this match to happen, but he doesn't realize that this gives... You're cheering on another way that WWE can bully AEW. They can then send Nakamura over there and go, okay, no AEW guys, though. You can do Tanahashi, Nakamura, but fucking Takeshita can't be on the show. Otherwise, no dice. And then the ball's in Nuge's court, then it just makes them look like they're slapping AEW around more. And you're like, oh, I mean, it could happen, Bryan. Just lying through your teeth, and then it just gets people's hopes up. And then it makes people go, big bad WWE, no matter what the outcome is. That's the Meltzer spin. Like, if they don't let Nakamura go, they're bad. And if they do let him go, they're bad.
WWE and AEW are feuding, and, all the stuff that WWE does to AEW constantly. I do think that Tony Khan, I don't know. People are going like, oh, he's going to get really mad. And I don't know. Like, maybe he will, but I don't think
best guy is Tony Khan.
Tanahashi's retirement. And whatever, if Tanahashi wants to retire against Nakamura, and they can pull that off, I think that should be okay.
I think that should be okay. Let me check with Tony. Let me check with my son. I think that should be okay. I mean, Tony, right? You're okay with that, Tony. He's texting me right now. Like, what the fuck? Thanks for your permission, Tony. Oh, is it okay? Okay, well, Dave said it should be okay. So I think we're going to go ahead and let them do this. Because, like, when they bully our pay-per-view times, and Dave melts down and argues with Bryan about that, and that hurts us, and we move the pay-per-view, and he cries about that, but then he's going to give them another avenue because he's a fucking smark and wants to watch these two guys throw down in New Japan one last time. Dude, he just doesn't care. Dave is such a slimy meatball. So I think that's all on the, Tanahashi Nakamura stuff, right? But we do have lots more. So Meltzer gets into arguments. Now, we talked about earlier, like, he's condescending to folk when you go, oh, the 5-star system is flawed. He argues that the 5-star system is fucking objective, or when you say it's just your opinion, he says it's not my opinion, it's actually the facts, and it's based on how the crowds move. That's the only criteria we've ever gotten for it. I've beaten that dead horse to death, getting it across to everybody, but I need everybody to understand that aspect about Dave. Okay? Just the way his fucking brain works, okay? How he rates people and their stars is like, he picks what match he's going to give the highest rating to on the show already. Then he rates everything with it or everything else on the show based off of that. Like lower than that, or like nothing will exceed what he's already made up in his mind. There's no way that he actually chronicles or goes through all of the wrestling he's ever seen in his life in his mind while he's rating one event, right? And so not only that, he says it's like a Richter scale, and then we know that he says it's based on how the crowds moved and shit like that. And so in the main event of this Meltzer segment, he gets called out for, he takes offense to people saying, like, we have a bunch of mark wrestlers out there wrestling for Meltzer stars. He takes offense to that. But little does he know that's the truth. But yet he'll cop to, like, oh, I booked this fucking FTR thing. So we're going to get to all that. And it's like, I wonder how much stars you gave that match that you fucking said you helped Tony Khan book or whatever, right? But Dave Meltzer argues with Marks and he's condescending. And that's why nobody can take his news seriously. And we called it out earlier. There was an article where he just puts a little sentence at the end about AEW, doesn't even name them. He says there's another company. And then if you were to challenge him on that, well, what about when Tony Khan said that he used AI? We covered all that in our report. If you read everything I ever written, Bryan. But meanwhile, it's just like a sentence at the end and it doesn't even say AEW or Tony Khan. Dave's such a fucking con artist. He just really is. He's a Tony Khan artist. And here's him just arguing with people online and being condescending and just showing you that he's delusional. And so here's just a little compilation of those. So this guy here, Colin, says comparing Monet to Shawn Michaels is an insult to Shawn and his incredible career. He wasn't a selfish egomaniac. And then this guy goes, this is the funniest wrestling tweet of the year. And I don't mean to diss that guy. You might agree with that notion. But Dave goes, that was awesome. Need to retweet. I mean, I don't expect people to know history, but it was unintentionally hilarious. I don't like, so this is how he looks at everybody. Nose up in the air, looking down at everybody. I don't expect people to know Shawn Michaels, bro. Who do you think you're talking to? People outside of the wrestling bubble? You've blocked anyone. You blocked yourself into a wrestling bubble, to a sicko bubble. I don't expect everyone to know history. Like, this is how he looks at people, dude. And this is why he condescends. This is why when people go, why do you care about his fucking star ratings, Phil? Because he thinks they're objective. They're not. They're subjective. He needs to address this. The only person who got close was Giga Chad Chris Van Vliet, and Meltzer started fucking, do not compute, Bryan, Tony Khan. He just melted down. And so this guy here, Dustin Cannon, says, and what side would I be taking? That's ridiculous. I'm a professional wrestling fan. And then Dave goes, the very idea that Mercedes holding these titles is bad for any of these titles is ludicrous. She's elevated every single one of them. And so, no, she hasn't, and I'll tell you why. No one can name any of these fucking belts. Also, Ultimo Dragon won the J Cup title, which is one match, wins you 8 belts. So in 3 matches, he did what she did. And you can name a bunch of those titles. Want me to prove it? We just went over them not long ago. We went over the Monet ones too. I can't remember any of them. There's like the Winnipeg one, the fucking legit. I can't remember them. One of them's a tournament one. So it's like, does that even count? The Owen? Does that count? Or like when they crown a new Owen, does that one not count anymore? I don't know how it works. Lex, how does this stuff work?
I don't know.
Me neither, but Ultimo Dragon had like the NWA Junior Heavyweight, the NWA Middleweight Championship, the WCW Cruiserweight, the WWE or the WWF Light Heavyweight title, all simultaneously. Like a bunch of these belts that and the IWGP Junior Heavyweight all at the same time. That's fucking crazy, man. That outdoes anything she's done. I'm sorry. And I don't get triggered by the debate. Like maybe you could argue it. It's cool that she can say, I held the most singles world titles at the same time of any wrestler. It's like, okay, that's a cool little tidbit. It's just like Cena, you know, he's this never seen 17, Flair's record 16. Flair's like, well, it's actually more like 21, but 16 recognized. We'll go with that. So it's like, it's cool. Like, okay, Monet, we recognize she held more belts at the same time than Ultimo Dragon. Doesn't mean like her legacy is greater or whatever. And that would be a subjective debate, I guess. Like, what do you value more, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title or the fucking Battle of the Burt title in their 3rd ever show? And they have a Winnipeg title and it's their 3rd ever show or whatever the fuck. Right. And so Dave Meltzer's like, she elevated every one of them. That's just not fucking true. Period. Point blank. Has she elevated some of the attendances and shit of these shows? Yep. But no one can name any of these belts. She doesn't even take a second to acknowledge the new ones that she's won on TV. You know, it would be a great segment on AEW if each of these fucking belts she wins, she like adds it to like a trophy case and fucking, I beat this person, blah, blah, blah. She has all these like dudes following her around now, carrying these belts. They're like her manservants. There could be a whole thing where she talks about, now I captured the whatever title, the Winnipeg whatever belt. It's in my trophy case. They could make that a whole thing. Instead, she just comes out with 12 and none of it matters. It's like, okay, are they shooting these out of fucking cannons? Or are they just giving them out to people? Just doesn't make sense. And so Dave Meltzer talked about Mercedes Moné's match at Wrestle Dream and says, Mercedes' match at Wrestle Dream wasn't announced ahead of time because AEW wanted to have her break the Ultimo Dragon record on that show. But pushing that prior to Friday would have given away that she wasn't losing the CMLL World Women's title to Persephone. Bro, we already fucking, like, we already
just
knew
in
she
from
wasn't,
Phil Marks
dude.
of PWT. He says, I told you so.
Nobody thought she was losing that
Sometimes in
title.
life, you got to be a hoe.
It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Nobody thought that was a thing that was going to happen. So Dave just shilling hard for AEW. So here's Tryin' Bryan. Here's what he had to say. And at least he talks some sense, but he has to do it to Filthy Tom Lawler and fucking Lance Storm, a good Canadian buddy. Okay? He has to talk sense to some sensible folk here. He can't do it to Dave. Right? So Crying Brian's again.
Obviously, it helps if Mercedes Moné goes to your indie promotion and wins your title. Like, that's all great. My issue is, like, what is this doing for Mercedes on the actual AEW show that I
love Brian's epiphanies, where it's like a conclusion that we've come to way before. And you know he's listening to PWT. He's probably listening to the show because he fucking blocked me recently. But, you know, Brian's like pointing out what I've been saying, you know, oh, okay, what does she go and lose 12 titles? And everyone's been saying that. Now, I think she will. Well, I actually don't know. I really don't know. I'm not even going to put a prediction out there because I want to give her the benefit of the doubt and think that she would lay down for everybody. Here's the problem, though. If they do a swerve where she drops all 12 to like a Statlander or a Willow, and then they go to all these indies and drop them back to their people, holy fuck, man, that will be the biggest travesty. And Tony, I will roast the fuck out of him and Monet for that if that happens. But until that happens, Monet's actually winning me over by calling Dave a salty mark and all this shit. It's been
watch. She's got a bunch of belts. What's the end game? What is the end game to this?
She unravels.
What's the end game, Brian? It's just Tony Khan has artificially bought himself into the history books of pro wrestling. So now he can say, look back, because of his money, because his dad invented the bumper for the modern vehicle, he's able to take that money and then buy his way to be alongside the names like Vince McMahon, Paul Levesque, Eric Bischoff, Jim Crockett, fucking Vern Gagne, all the guys, right? And now his name is next to theirs because Paul Heyman, because he is a wrestling booker, pal. And he just artificially earned it by buying his way like Herb Abrams. But he did it at a level and where there was the internet, where the internet smarks had his back. And there was like a cult following that felt greater than it was. And it was greater at the beginning, just objectively looking at data. But at the beginning, it felt much greater too, because it was the internet, which makes things like, again, people all the time try to extrapolate what's just internet noise and what's like when you go outside and you touch grass and you look at people out and you interact with people in the real world. How do they think and feel and how do they react to shit, right? And so again, man, it's the end game is Tony Khan just wants to say Mercedes Moné held the most titles, beat Ultimo Dragon's record. Tony thinks it's like, I'm paying homage to pro wrestling. It's a fucking slap in the face to pro wrestling. And when people like fucking Jim Cornette try and say this and people call, he's just an old podcasting grifter. It's like,
baby,
dude,
learn Meltzer Inferno.
It's like, dude,
Thank you, fuck you, bye, boom.
You know, some of these guys like Dutchman telling shit, their friends died doing this shit. people they know have like lost body parts and have been fucking stabbed after shows in Minecraft, leaving the building with fucking, you know, a shoebox full of cash and shit. You know what I mean, dude? Like, it's so much more than meets the eye, Brian, but it's just like it's more than that to some of these guys that get chalked up as grifters and just they're just jealous and all this shit. No one's jealous of the Young Bucks or like these fake records Tony's creating.
The end game that she's going to go all over the world and lose 12 matches on 12 indie shows?
I think so.
You think that's going to happen?
The way it's set up, I don't know how else you can get out of it otherwise. She just rides off into the sunset and disappears.
Well, I mean, there's two ways you can get out of it.
And that's the thing, bro. Tony would let her do that. Tony's such a fucking simp that he would let her, like Jade Cargill, just leave. And that's where they get into a situation where she just vacates all these belts and uber fucks all these promotions and themselves. Or he has her lose one match where she loses all the belts to like Athena. And then Athena goes and drops them on all these fucking indies. Which is such a snaky-ass move if that happens.
One is she puts all the belts on the line against someone else who wins them, and then they
and
go
then
around
has
the
to
world.
lose.
Yes, there's that.
So who's that gonna be?
Athena.
On the AEW
Athena. They're already building
roster.
Athena.
Harley Cameron?
No, not Harley Cameron. Athena, because she's already in Ring of Honor, and Tony will just make her go do fucking indies.
Who could beat her and then lose to everybody else?
Actually,
Harley Cameron or like Billy Starks.
If you're really high, on Harley Cameron, it actually would be great because number one, it'd be
No,
a big
it
win for her,
wouldn't.
and number
Oh
two,
my-
she'd get a lot of experience going around the world.
I know, Brian.
Dropping 12 titles in 12 different indies.
And then just smash her career to oblivion, bro? Is that what you're trying to fucking do?
Stupid idiot.
God, man.
Or the other thing is either in real life or in storyline, Mercedes gets injured and has to vacate them all. Or maybe she'll go around the world and drop them.
Real life? Yeah, we take her out with a bat to the fucking knee out back.
But given how strongly they protect her, I'm skeptical of that. But we shall see.
Yeah, I don't know, man. AEW, if they fuck this one up, if they don't do the right thing and just have her drop all these titles, then tell a story of like, I'm losing everything, whatever, and then get the crowd behind her as a babyface, then she like has a swan song victory. If that's not how they play this shit, they're fucking cooked. Okay. Tony Khan botched. Moving along here. So Dave Meltzer, right? We just talked about it. He's glazing and defending AEW to the death. Okay. And we see it here. He starts talking about ratings. So Dynamite did a 534K, 0.11. 0.11. Well, hold on a second. Did we even finish him arguing with Marks and shit? I don't even know if we did. Hold on a second. But dude, they did a 0.11 and a 530K. That's like fucking the worst ratings ever. That's what Collision used to do. And you're telling me this show's not going to get canceled or doesn't have a chance of getting canceled. So he says this, right? Those are good numbers, especially for the third hour. What did I tell you guys? Phil don't fucking miss. Phil hits the marks.
Poor people don't like AEW.
Run those likes and subs up for this shit. Guys, I called this. They're going to tack Collision on to the third hour of Dynamite. They're going to cancel it on whatever day. It's normal time Saturday. They're going to add it as a third hour to Dynamite. They're going to call it Collision. And then Collision will still do like 400,000, 500,000. Then they're going to turn around and go, that's a good number. I called this to a fucking T. PWT. The T is for to a T. I called it to a T. Dave is going to go, these are good Collision numbers, though. And Tony Khan's going to come out with some fucking fake chart again where it shows the last 3 quarters, Collision's up 500%. But really, it's because they stick it as the third hour to Dynamite and just call it Collision. So Dave is going to play the game where he goes, especially for a third hour of what? Collision. Those are good numbers. Dynamite did this. Collision did 400K 0.11. Called it, man. Those are good numbers for Collision, aren't they? Holy. So Pete in Texas goes, outside of you, who says it's good? Friend of the show here, Pete in Texas, member of the PWT universe. It's a month in. You fought the first week and said it wasn't that number. They had the NXT head-to-head loss. There isn't enough to tell if it's good or not, right? So Pete talking that shit. And then Dave actually responds up here to Pete. So Dave goes, everyone with a brain, Pinky and the brain. Brian's like, what are we doing tonight, Dave? And then Dave's like, the same thing we do every night, Brian. Try to take over the wrestling world.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
It's Davey and the brain. It's Davey and the brain. One is a simp, the other's insane. So Dave Meltzer goes, everyone with a brain, Brian. When you acquire one, you'll say it as well. Oh, shit. Coming in hot on my boy Pete and TX, man. This ain't the week to be doing that, Dave. You're going to regret that one. That's my boy. Okay. And so Raj Geary pipes in and goes, wait, a 0.11 even with the new system is now good for Dynamite? Get the fuck out of here. It's pretty crap at best, pretty shitty at normal. And that's just it, man. Dave's such a dummy.
Yeah.
Like, he's such an idiot. Like, bro, call out that Dynamite's doing Collision numbers from 2 years ago, which were Rampage numbers from 3 years ago or whatever, right? Like, this Rampage went off the air, Collision's next. They're going to try and tack it onto that third hour of Dynamite. And by the time this sale goes through, like, I could just see this shit getting canceled and ending up on fucking Pop Network or Destination America, like TNA. That happened at TNA. AEW's not going to die, man. It'll be on YouTube, ran out of Tony Khan's backyard. I've had people, I said AEW's fucked this week. People melted down. All these sickos. Oh, well, it'll survive. What makes you think it'll never survive? I've always said it will survive. I'm the one who literally makes the best argument for that being the case, but it won't survive in the form it's in right now. TBS and TNT might go, let's get this thing the fuck off the air. Yeah, it can stay on our streaming if you guys want, but we're not going to put it on TNT anymore. If Warner sells, that could totally happen. Why can that happen to TNA? And I can make fun of them being on the Pop Network, but we're not allowed to make fun of fucking AEW when it happens. It's such a cult mentality over there. So Dave just boom roasted, right? And so he just fucking gatekeeps for AEW more. And we talked about the ratings. Here's Bryan talking about, with the WBD for sale, AEW ratings have never been more important. And now this is where all that shit Dusty Dave has been talking. They make all this money, Brian. The ratings, they've all went to HBO Max. Now it's where we really see if that shit he's talking is true. And he's not writing like 10 million articles about it. He doesn't even care about it.
And a move has been expected for quite...
Dave Meltzer, that is. Like, where's all of his articles? Like, holy fuck, I study the business. Where's him? Like, he's just waiting to see what happens and what everyone else reports on so he can report it from other areas that the IWC doesn't look at, and then he can try and report it as his own. He doesn't know what the fuck is going on with any of this TV deal stuff, this is the biggest story right here when it comes to AEW.
Quite some time, Warner Brothers has officially put itself up for sale. WBD, obviously the primary media partner of AEW.
They've turned down Paramount 3 times, by the way.
They are doing, quote, a review of strategic alternatives to maximize shareholder value.
There's an update I doubt Dave had for you.
Which is another way of saying they are looking to be sold. Everyone's asking what this means, and the answer is we don't know. We don't know anything. But, there's a reality
We
here.
don't know anything. So you didn't read Nicolo Piccolo's thread, buds? Like, what are we doing? He told you what is going on, and you didn't even fucking read it? Holy shit, man. You guys are really that sour grapes?
Let's just be fair. We got
Fucking Niccolo Piccolo, dude. Listen. Read his shit, dude. Like he fucking no one knows what's going on. He explained it for free. Could have fucking charged $20 a month. And fucking sold a course on what's going on, and you assholes didn't read
Which
it.
is
Oh man.
everyone that says you don't need to care about ratings. I hate to break this to you, but actually you do.
Boom.
If AEW
Boom. Even Bryan saying you do. Now, you don't in the way where it's like, well, everything's on streaming. And if we're to believe Bethel and Dave and everyone, then there's a bagillion people streaming it. So what's that, right? But that's not the case. And now Bryan has to he has to say it now. He has to admit it. He has to sit here and be like, here's the thing and if I can't say this in front of Dave because he'll tell me that the ratings don't really matter because they'll all just go to Max and Amazon.
can manage to stay in the top 5 on cable, and they're doing very, very well when this sale goes through or when 2027 comes along and the deal's up. I think they're fine.
Even Bryan, top 5 on cable. I think they're fine. Dude, top 5 when Dave, he just goes, they were only behind Fox News, right? Even Bryan's just owning Dave here.
But the problem is, if the show is not doing well and WBD sells and whoever bought
it isn't doing, the problem is if it isn't doing, it's not.
Guys
It's
look
done. It's cooked.
at how
It's
the show
over.
is doing, and they're
Game
like, this
over.
show,
It's canceled.
it's
on
too
YouTube. Go to
expensive based
Patreon.
on how it's doing, and it's done.
It's a
They're going to
Patreon
need to
show.
find a home elsewhere.
Patreon on a pole match. It's done. It's cooked.
And a movie's been expected for
$14.99. It's going to the fucking Observer website. You guys are live streaming every event, dude. So again, even Bryan can acknowledge it. There's other random just defenses of fucking glazing and defending AEW and the ratings and all this. But here is Dave Meltzer and Bryan Alvarez tossing back and forth whether AEW should move their pay-per-views to the afternoon. We've heard them argue about this. I just think it made them look like pussies. And then now at the end of the year, we're seeing WWE had no more plans. So all that doom and gloom, all that they're going head to head, and then this whole last few months, they didn't go head to head with AEW. Why? Because that was all just bullshit they made up to try and galvanize sickos, to get them mad at the Fed. And now they're talking about, should they go earlier? Well, let's see.
The crowd was really, really hot until they got tired because the show went too long. AEW.
Damn, even Dave said that the fucking show went too long, Tony.
To do shows in the afternoon, or they need to do shows that are shorter. The show was too long.
So again, I've been right. All the sickos who attack me and go, you're just TikTok brained. You don't like pro wrestlings. We really like pro wrestlings and McGrapples and real wrestlings. All of that's just bullshit. Phil Mark's right again, and they need to do shorter shows. A billion people out there, but I'm going to pat myself on the fucking back. You goddamn sickos. So it's like we're right again. So I'm right, and I just want what's best for AEW, and you don't. You just want to see bodies hit the floor and people end up needing neck surgery in their 30s.
They've done longer shows in the afternoon, and the difference is that in the afternoon you don't get tired.
No, you do get tired. Regular people get tired. I know you guys don't care about that. You need to start expanding, or this shit's going to be kicked off TNT, and you're going to be going back down to fucking 4 pay-per-views a year, which is what Tony should be doing.
And in the evening, especially, I could just imagine, Eastern time and Central time, but Eastern time in particular, because this thing ended at 12:30, and it doesn't need to do that. Just do it in the afternoon. I mean, we've already proven that it helps you.
We've already proven.
European buys doesn't really hurt U.S. buys.
The show was.
It doesn't hurt U.S. buys. No one's proven that. Dave just said the pay-per-views are up. Meanwhile, with Switchblade, hasn't proven, but I think has proven more than you've proven when Dave goes, a pay-per-view source says, and he's the pay-per-view source. and the Observer reports that a pay-per-view source says something and Dave's the pay-per-view source, that doesn't count. That doesn't count. What Switchblade's able to do is look at social media trends and look at how many people are watching it in the chat live on the fucking YouTube. That's the biggest streamer in the world. And Dave doesn't even think of things like that. He doesn't even study and learn the business or eat enough Wagyu beef or listen to Taylor Swift enough at McDonald's to understand the football business, Patrick Mahoney.
It's too long. But the difference in this show was that they ran in St. Louis, and the St. Louis Commission had a bunch of restrictions. And those included no bleeding, no brawling in the crowd, and
they did bleed and brawl in the crowd.
There was no crowd brawling. No one went in the crowd.
Oh, my God, and Dave. Well, they did do these things that are supposed to be illegal, and I'm just going to stoop and I'm just going to tell on them. And then when people tell me I'm bad for AEW, I'm going to be like, sue me then. I'm going to be like, fuck you, Bryan. It's like, Dave, quit blowing up everyone's spot, bro.
And the only bleeding was in the Derby match when they did a blood capsule at the very beginning of the match. But because of that, it's like,
and then Bryan,
you didn't have the blood.
They're doing a blood capsule. Real wrestling. Go and tell the sickos, hey, they did a fake blood capsule. Well, it's sports and entertainment. I thought it was real wrestling. Yeah, we're real. We're really real. Real grapples in a fishbowl.
Bath with a thumbtack.
Next, we're going to fucking, we're going to cover ourselves in fake green blood, dress like aliens, then fucking spin Beyblades on each other's nutsacks on a on a scaffold.
And everything like that. You didn't have the crowd brawling like in the I actually expected a lot of crowd brawling in the Hurt Syndicate match. We had none. And so I think the thing was, you didn't really have like the wide variety of matches that you normally see on an
No. Don't say this. Wrestle Dream was a decent show, man. It was better than All Out. You didn't see the wide variety. There wasn't enough hardcore bullshit with just the fish tank. I really wanted to see him snip a rat trap on his pinky toe and get pushed down a flight of stairs. What the fuck is your problem, you sick son of a bitch? It was they just had singles and there was a lot of tag matches. I'll say that. There's a lot of 2-on-2s. And they just had singles matches. Like for once, it was mostly just wrestling and not like 7 hardcore matches. Shut the fuck up. Jesus.
AEW show. It was just wrestling match in a ring, wrestling match in a ring, wrestling match in a ring, wrestling match. And by the women's,
that's what the pay-per-views are for. And when they do different shit, like in NXT, you fucking fake cry about it, Bryan. You're a phony. You're a phony fucking baloney.
This match, it was like, we've seen a lot of matches with not a lot of variation. So I think that might have played a part in it.
No, it's just you AEW fucking fans. Oh, we're wrestling fans. You fucking AEW fans don't just appreciate when people have matches. It's got to be bullshit. There's got to be rubber chickens sticking out of asses and fucking girls slapping each other with pork chops in the tits while they're bleeding. It's got to be all this weird shit. Or you guys are like, oh, whatever. Rizzler's got to get fucking dunked in a fucking a vat of chicken grease and escape from alligators. Right? Like, you guys need all this weird shit to fucking to make it memorable because there's no stories to sink your teeth in. None of this shit matters. Just like I said, okay, Darby beat Mox. Who cares? Hangman already beat Mox and took the title. Nothing changed. On Dynamite, what happened? Nothing changed. Mox is there. No selling a death match. Fucking doesn't even get reprimanded for trying to kill someone in Minecraft on the pay-per-view. And the what are they called? The Bumbleclaw Club. They just do a bunch of other bullshit. They're just like beating people up, interfering, acting tough. They're just doing the same shit they've always done. Nothing changed. There's no growth. There's no like new story. There's no beat to this. They're just still running rampant. None of it matters.
The crowd was really, really hot.
Shut the fuck up, Dave. So in more AEW news, not even a dislocated elbow can stop Roosh. So we talked about this before in AEW News on PWT Live Show every Wednesday and Saturday. But yeah, Roosh, I guess, dislocated his elbow getting in the ring and then still wrestled his match.
Well, the real story here is Roosh. This freaking Roosh jumps in the ring and his knee pad gets caught on the ropes and he takes a bump, an accidental bump, and freaking dislocates his elbow. And this dude who never sells, he is in pain. And he's like, he is in so much pain. He still makes a save. And then they end up going outside, and I forget who he was out there with. I think it was Shibata. Shibata's trying to do a spot, and Roosh is having none of it. He's just in so much pain. I was like, oh my God. I watched it like 4 times. Like, what did he hurt? He hurt his wrist, his hand, his elbow? What happened? So it turns out he dislocated his elbow falling down. So they have a post-match brawl that they need to do, and this frickin' dude pops his own elbow back into the socket,
Jeebus,
hits the ring, and does all of the spots that he's supposed to do. And
yeah, Roosh is a bad motherfucker, man. And this is a guy who will go to that length, and I'm not saying he should. He'll kill him. He'll delete himself for you, Tony Khan. Push him, and usually Tony likes guys like that. But again, for whatever reason, he's just not pushing Roosh. I've been saying, go back to PWT episode 1. I'm fucking like, dude, I love Roosh. And yeah, I mean, that's a loyal mother. It seems like he's been getting banged up lately, though, no? We're not even seeing him that much. They just keep him in LFI, different versions and incarnations of LFI. Or LIF, LFI, LIF. I can't remember.
Apparently, like...
Los Faction Ingobernable. Yeah, LFI.
They went to the back, and almost nobody knew about it. Like, I asked around yesterday, because I saw that he got hurt. But then, like, he got hurt, but then was wrestling afterwards. I was like, what happened here? Was he just selling? So I was asking around, like, nobody knew. And finally, I found somebody, and they told me the story. And it was just crazy. He popped his elbow back in. And then, next day, gets on a flight and flew to Mexico to wrestle L.A. Park and his 2 kids.
What an insane person.
He is a madman.
Yeah, that is pretty nuts. Here, guys. Sorry, I want to get to this. Real Russ for 10 says, Phil, I'm beat down from a long day. I got to crash. Just play the flute one time from Bandcamp. This one time at Bandcamp, Bryan, I put a flute in my pussy so I can go to sleep. Hope all is well, brother. Dude, hope all is well with you. I see everyone saying goodnight. Typically, I read the super chats and all that at the end of the segment, but I wanted to make the exception, and I will play a flute for you here, my good friend. One time. I see everybody saying bye to you. I just like to check in from time and again. Okay, so everybody say peace out to Russ, and thank you so much for your contribution to the show. Yeah, so let's get back to things here. We have a little bit left here of Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week. So, yeah, Rush, shout him out. Hopefully they push him more and more. David Otunga talked about the Andrade issue, right? So Andrade had this legal situation. You know, Dave Meltzer tried to blame WWE for it, basically tried to blame WWE for Kota Ibushi's injury as well. We covered that last week on Double DMW. And David Otunga has a YouTube channel, and he used to be a lawyer as well, I think an entertainment lawyer. And so he spoke up about this, or he just made a YouTube video about it. And he said that Andrade could win. Now, we broke down what he said in his video on the last live show, PWT live show Wednesday and Saturday night. But David Otunga was kind of, I don't know. He basically said that Andrade could win and the court would rule in his favor. But I'm just like, dude, there's a reason independent contractors don't do this shit, because it only benefits. Everybody wants to become like Roman Reigns. When you're Roman Reigns and you're an independent contractor, it's way more beneficial than the mid to lower guys and shit. And so that's why nobody teams up and does this union shit. They're never going to do it. They don't do it in the UFC. They don't do it anywhere. But David Otunga is like, a judge would rule in his favor. And my suggestion would be like, just don't fucking sue WWE and TKO and UFC and all this shit, right? Like, these are big fucking companies we're talking about. Like, dude, just don't even, just tell Tony, pay me to sit at home for the next year. They're cool that I'm under contract. I just can't be on TV. So you're going to pay me, and I'll fucking not get you involved in this mess. That's basically, if I was Andrade, that's what I would do. Maybe some people are like, well, that's dumb. That sounds like blackmail, and that's bad advice. Obviously, I wouldn't be like, you're doing this or this, right? It would be, Andrade has rapport with people. These are business relationships he has, right? So I digress. Here's David Otunga's idea, and Dave Meltzer's going to try and mock a man who's infinitely nigh more intelligent. Infinite. What's a word for infinite, right? Another word, never ending, fucking more infinite libraries, infinite library books stacked with fucking more IQ points and knowledge than Dave Meltzer will ever have in his life. Infinitely more intelligent David Otunga. Here's what Dave Meltzer has to say about his idea.
David Otunga.
Basically, he did a thing today on his podcast talking about the Andrade situation. And, you know, he basically said that he thinks that if it were to go to court, he thinks it would be very difficult for WWE to prevail in a court case with the idea of, you know, keeping a guy from earning a living for a year. I just don't see how any judge would rule against with the idea that he could.
The idea that he couldn't
work in the United States for a year after the company fired him. And so the one thing that Otunga said that was kind of weird, you know, it's I guess he's been reading too many I don't know what, you know, too much fantasy booking people or something.
Oh my God, Dave, do you mean like you? He's reading too much fantasy booking people. He's an actual fucking lawyer, you mark.
You fucking mark!
What are you talking about?
You know how they could make a deal is
Meltzer's such a dumbass
they could
clown,
have
dude.
WWE make a deal and allow AEW to use Andrade, and in exchange, AEW.
He's reading too many, what are those called? Law books to get his fucking degree or whatever, to pass the bar, Bryan. And I mean, the bar was a great tag team, but Claudio's in AEW. I'm like, what are you talking about?
You could allow WWE to use Adam Copeland for one date for Cena's retirement. And it's like, they already decided what they're doing for Cena's retirement.
And here's the thing. Dave is so triggered. Oh, they could do a trade so that AEW doesn't get sued, or to settle all this, they could do a talent swap. And then Dave Schmarmely goes, and he expects everyone. So in one tweet, he goes, I don't expect people to know history. But then all condescending, he's like, I mean, this dumb fucking lawyer, what does he know speaking from a law perspective? He never read my dirt sheet and saw me fantasy mark book. And that's why I just projected and said fantasy mark booking. Fantasy mark stuff. Oh, so you're listening to PWT. And that's why you use that type of vernacular. Because I'm living rent-free. I've got you felted, Dave. And so Dave is sitting here fucking all condescending. Oh, he doesn't know that I reported that they already have their plan for John Cena. Okay, but what happens when that plan changes and it's not Gunther, Dave? And then you just go, well, plans change. And at the time, it's what it was. They had their plan. And then Otunga's just talking about an old school talent swap. Oh, you mean like what they did in ECW and WCW, even though Heyman and Bischoff hated each other's fucking guts. And even to this day, Heyman fucking scoffs whenever Bischoff's name is brought up and whether he's working or it's kayfabe or whatever. You mean even them, they did talent swaps? You don't think that could happen? You don't think that could resolve this issue? If that was like the case, I doubt that would happen, but it's like, you don't think that's an idea? Like, that's not old school wrestling? I thought you study and learn, Dave. Like, come on, bro. Dave's such a kooky old bitch, man, and he's so condescending to people like David Otunga, who's just infinitely smarter than Dave. Like, fuck.
And Adam Copeland.
Oh, God.
They don't want Adam Copeland. Why would they want Adam Copeland to begin with? Cena might want him, but, you know.
Why would they want him? Cena might want him. Well, that's the answer, stupid.
That one's not happening, and there's nothing in that direction, but I guess, you know, people, because of that interview Adam Copeland did about he's leaving, you know, they started talking about, oh, maybe he's seen his last opponent. And I guess some people haven't told people that he just left to do some acting work. And
he's talking like he knew. Like, Dave, you didn't break that story. The fucking IWC blew up. Other dirt sheets came in. And then sources like Variety and shit, maybe not Variety, but You had like entertainment outlets like tweeting about the cast and they're filming the show and da 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 da. Disney's hyping it up. What the fuck, Dave? What are you talking about? He's talking condescending to like David Otunga, who's like fucking models and you know what I mean? Working on his YouTube content. And I'm just assuming, right? He's a good looking, he's fucking got money for sure. He's fucking jacked, right? I mean, what else is he doing? Who is he married to? Wasn't he married to some fucking celebrity? He's out there like banging fucking chicks in LA and like going to entourage parties and shit. And you think he's reading your fuck? I guess some people didn't tell him he's just, right. Otunga's saying legally you could do like a talent swap. Like, okay, the way Christian Cage went to TNA and then Ric Flair went to WWE and like a Hall of Fame swap or whatever. Swap out. That's what Otunga's doing, swapping bitches out. Swap out. Get out. Hop out. No, but everyone go check out Otunga's YouTube channel as well. But I just lost my train of thought. Sorry, I'm cracking myself up over here. Dave's fucking he's bugging, okay? That's all it is. And he's talking about like Edge goes and does Cena's retirement, and then they just let Andrade go to work for AEW. And that's a good trade. And then Edge can go back and work for AEW too. It's just a little trade for both companies. I think that's a great trade for both companies. You get Andrade right away. Obviously, you hired him because the best guy's Tony Khan, and he has plans to put him in a match with Omega and push him and make him like he's a star on our show. We hired him for our TV show. Hopefully, he's a TV star for us. Right, Dave? Otherwise, why did Tony hire him, right? Logistically. So let's get Andre to work, right? Andre, the Giant. Let's get Andrade back to work right away. And then let's Edge have a one-off, and then it does nothing for, it just helps WWE, which like, who gives a fuck? And then Edge can show up in WWE as Edge Adam Copeland. And it's the same music and shit. That'd be a good trade out, you know? Moving along here. I just think Dave he just thinks he's smarter than everyone. So Dave just defending his son, Tony Khan here. Right. And we're going to get to that in a second, but he also just glazes the Bucks. Right. And we talked earlier about stars. Keep that in the back of your mind. And we're going to keep this little bit here in the back of your mind as well. Listen to how Dave talked about Stephanie Vaquer earlier when he's like, it's all pre-programmed. The Bucks go out there at Wrestle Dream, do the same fucking moves they've been doing for the last 10 plus years. And Dave Meltzer says this about their match.
So
that went too long too, by the way. It was actually a decent match, then it just went way too fucking long. Went fucking 4 false finishes.
Young Bucks Jurassic Express, $500,000 going to the winner. This match was fantastic. It's like we have not seen Luchasaurus or Jack Perry have a match this good in years. And obviously part of it was being in there with the Young Bucks, but it was also what they did. Like, this was the best working Luchasaurus I've seen. Jungle Boy.
Why? Because, like I pointed out during the PWT watch along on PWT Sicko Saturday, where we watched Wrestle Dream, and I pointed out how they're going slower, they're using psychology. Luchasaurus is wrestling like a big man. He's not doing these fucking moves he doesn't need to do. The Bucks are just selling their asses off. And then they start doing their flips, and I'm pointing out, like, man, that works better for baby faces. Like, they've been doing the same shit. They're playing the hits. They need to go back to babyface, whatever. We're all watching the show. That's clearly the direction they're going. But it's like, yeah, because they use psychology in this match. And when Jungle Express were together, Lucha Express or whatever the fuck they were called, I forget, when they were together the first time, they played into that. He's the little guy and Lucha's the fucking big guy, even though Lucha was like doing fucking moonsaults off the stage and shit. He shouldn't have been doing that stuff. But even then, they were over as like this babyface act and shit. It's like, yeah, dude, no doubt. They apply psychology, and Dave's like, it's a dream match. One of the greatest ever. Go figure.
He's so much better served as a babyface. Place was going absolutely wild for this match. And finally, at the end, they tried the TK driver. Luchasaurus broke it up. Nick got sent outside. They hit Matt with their finish. They won the $500,000. The Bucks are still broke. This also probably could have been, you could have cut about 10% off this match.
Boom. Sickos, where you at? I get comment, do you just hate on AEW? Why? Because I say the shit went too long and you could have just fucking ended it when you had the crowd right here. And I'm giving a suggestion to help. And Tony Khan's back there going, no, I gave you more time. And then Bryan and Dave have to go, yeah, I mean, it was a little too long. Where you sickos at? Where's my apologies, man?
But it was still incredible.
I just care about AEW more than you sickos.
Sure was. One of the most creative matches you could ever see if you're looking for counters to, pretty well-known high spots. I thought they pulled off everything immaculately. This was wild in a good way.
It just went too long. I do agree. It was a pretty fucking good match, like for the pay-per-view. Some people.
So we had Young Bucks, Jurassic Express.
People just hate the Bucks. That's fine, but Dave gave it 4 and whatever fucking stars. So, again, Dave defends Tony Khan here. So Tony Khan had this opinion on John Moxley being Harley Race, and also he just slid in the announcement of like the brackets for the tag tournament, and Tony's getting backlash because people are starting to call out like shit that I'm calling. Dude, they had a 4-way tag with 4 of the women's teams, so the winner of that match chooses their opponents, so you clear out your whole women's tag division, and then you have a tournament where everyone gets cleared out with a loss, and then you just have one team sitting atop. So you're going to bury your whole fucking division before it even gets started. What's the point of this match? Just announce the fucking tournament, you clown. Or just do 1 4-way on one side, 1 4-way on the other side. The 2 winning teams fight each other. And even that's too much. Why are you beating 3 teams of your new division? It's not like this is an old played out tag division where we're like, oh, we need to spice it up. Quick, do a 4 teams, every tag team at Mania. Vince would always Yeah, dude, I don't know. Every Thursday we get fucking sniped. It's okay though, dude. We're here. We endure. If people are tripping out and dipping out, it's unfortunate because we're getting to the main event here. These shows go like 2.5 hours as well. I always thought when I started the show, I'm like, it'll be a tight hour and a half. They go so long because it accumulates over the week. We might have to double down. I'm not muting, guys. I'm fucking like some StreamYard's glitching out or something. I don't know. It's tripping me out. Let's see here. I think everything's in the good, man. I mean, it's like shit's working, bro. It's just I'm getting kicked or something. While we're at it, Chris Walski for 5 says show idea. Review WWFE observer sources over the years. And we're not done the show. We still have a segment to get to here, okay? Review sources over the years focusing on the Ring Boy scandal era when Meltzer first gained national attention on Donahue. I mean, I could do that. I'll team up with Meltzer Said What, and I'll ask the GOAT if he has any suggestions for shit. But he's always sending me fucking gold, and that guy is Dave Meltzer, roast standard bearer. Let me know if you guys can hear me in chat too. Just like if I see ones, that means you guys can hear me. Okay. I'm seeing shit like Phil still has dial up and stuff. Well, in Canada, buddy, we rub 2 ice cubes together in our igloos there. Thank you, guys. Usually I read super chats, get them in memberships. If you gift a membership or join, I do Member Monday shows. I'll read and acknowledge those once I'm done this last segment as well. We're getting fucking snipered here. So just, yeah, ones, everyone can hear me. Everything's good. Golden. I don't know. Every Thursday, right? I think it's been every episode of Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week. So I don't know why that keeps happening. Dave Meltzer, I'm on to you, you son of a bitch. Yeah, so let me just pull this shit up here. Just gonna make note there. A little timestamp as well. Okay, gonna do my job here. So let's share the goddamn screen and let's just refresh this to make sure this is good so you guys can see what we got going on. And where was I? Okay, so what was the last thing you guys heard me talking about? I was going off about the women's tag team division and how basically Tony Khan just ran through the tag division. So basically, yeah, Chad, you guys are okay. So basically what happened, let's run another flute, shall we? It's Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week. Let's get it. Stay here all night if we got to. We'll stay here all fucking night, dude. You got to call the fire department to shut this party down, okay? Got to shut the fucking fire department. You got to send the fire department to shut this party down. Okay, so, don't mute the flute. Exactly. So, basically, what I was going off about was this video here where Dave Meltzer, where Bryan is talking about how basically by the end of the show, Tony Khan doesn't deserve any fucking criticism because he, by the end of Dynamite, announced the brackets for the women's tag division. And I'm just pointing out that what they should be criticizing is the fucking booking of this. Because why would you clear out your whole women's tag division and then fucking have them all get cleared out again in a tournament right after? Why have this match? Just announce the brackets. So it's ridiculous he's even going this route in the first place, okay? But the brackets were revealed and they protect Tony Khan here. Dave Meltzer, you're going to see in this next little bit, the main event of the evening, he gets defensive over his star ratings, gets defensive over what MVP has to say, and he just glazes and protects Tony Khan. And here's more of that.
At this point, they had not announced the brackets for the tournament. In storyline, they didn't even have brackets yet because we were still getting teams throughout the show getting put together. So I don't know what brackets Tony had that he promised this weekend in storyline.
Well, he had them. He said they were going to announce the brackets, and they did.
Dave, you don't understand. He said Saturday he had the brackets, but on this show, teams were still getting put together.
No, he said
so
Saturday,
when this show started, he didn't have brackets.
He said Saturday he was going to announce the brackets.
I know, but he didn't have them when the show started because throughout the show, teams were being put together.
He announced them before the end of the show. He just said he would announce the brackets on the show.
So in storyline, he was hoping that teams would get together during the show.
Even Bryan has to point out, this is what I mean. And Dave, he just defends Tony. He won't criticize the booking.
The best guy's Tony Khan.
Shout out crying, trying, flying Bryan for at least trying a little bit here. Trying, Bryan. You're promoted again from crying Bryan to trying Bryan, but only for this bit. Only for this segment.
And by the end of the show, he had brackets just as he advertised. That's a silly criticism.
No, Dave, this is not a silly criticism.
Yes,
they were putting teams together as the show went on. This is something Ava would do. I'm gonna have
no, and then he makes it about NXT. This is something Ava would do. No, it's not, you stupid idiot. Dave is just sitting here trying to defend. He's just trying to defend Tony Khan, his son. He won't sit there and say, yeah, this booking is bad. He's just trying to say, Tony delivered on what he promised. He promised he'd announce brackets, and then he announced brackets. Yeah, but the kayfabe story is that he already had the brackets, but then he just discovers what the teams are on this fucking show. So which is it? Like, that is a fair criticism, Dave. No, it's not. He announced the brackets. It's a silly criticism. He's just a fucking asshole, a condescending prick.
Brackets on Tuesday. Hopefully some teams get together during the show so I can put them in.
He said that they would have brackets on the show.
Yeah, that means as a promoter, he's already got his brackets done. He's just going to announce them.
He never said that. He never said that. He said he would have the brackets announced on the show. If he had the brackets, why didn't he announce them on Sunday or on Saturday?
Because he's a promoter. He wants people to watch Dynamite.
Okay, well then
tune into Dynamite. I'm going to give you these brackets I've made.
And he did.
Instead, he had a blank bracket, apparently. And luckily...
He did a story during the show.
Why didn't he announce it earlier? Because he's a promoter. Dave. Oh, yeah, I guess that's right. He can't even acknowledge it. Let's bring this back. He can't even acknowledge Bryan's right, because it's called promoting a wrestling show.
He never said that. He said he would have the brackets announced on the show. If he had the brackets, why didn't he announce them on Sunday or on Saturday?
Because he's a promoter. He wants people to watch Dynamite.
Okay, well then
tune into Dynamite. I'm going to give you these brackets I've made.
And he did.
Instead, he had a blank bracket, apparently. And luckily...
He did a story during the show. The storyline was that he had a match put together where the winners of the match, which is this match that we're talking about, would get to pick their first round opponent, and then he would fill in the brackets after that. Because that was announced. I don't know what day they announced that, but it was yesterday. So obviously he wasn't going to have the brackets at the beginning of the show because they were having a match to determine.
I know, and this is why the show's retarded. This is why it's garbage. This is why it gets criticized. You shouldn't have to explain all this. So Tony wrote out 18 different varieties of matches, is what Dave wants us to believe. And he had, Sky Blue and Julia Hart versus this girl versus this guy versus, these two teams or these two teams. I know if this team wins and then picks this team as their opponent, then I'll put these two together. But then if this team wins and then I'll put these two together. So is that what you want us to believe? Or is this just fucking bad booking, bro? And you need to fucking accept and admit this, you in denial bastard.
One of the first round matches, so he couldn't have the brackets done.
So who was going to be in this tournament if Athena hadn't shown up out of the blue?
He could have
hour and 45 minutes into the show tell Mercedes, "I want to be your partner."
He could have had who knows what. That doesn't matter. He had when he announced the brackets, they were a team.
It doesn't matter. When they announced the brackets, they were a team. So it doesn't matter because all he said is he was going to announce brackets. So it doesn't matter what they announce or when they announce or if none of it makes sense because they were a team when he announced it. This is why AEW is in the
Tony
shit.
Khan.
I've been right this whole time, man, and I'm going to get my fucking flowers one day, and it's going to be hilarious. And this fucking Dusty Dave is going to help Fantasy Mark book, but actually book AEW into the ground. At this point, he admits that he's like booking some of this shit or whatever. But before we get to that, more defense of Tony Khan. Is Jon Moxley AEW's Harley Race? So Tony Khan said this. We covered it on PWT live show Sicko Saturday, or actually it was Wednesday, pardon me, Wacko Wednesday. And Tony Khan said that Moxley is their Harley Race. And then like Ace Steel and was like, this is bullshit. And then of course Dave has to get all upset about this because Ace Steel was friends with Harley Race, and Harley Race liked CM Punk, but they would scoff at, like Tony Khan's a fucking clown basically, and Dave's getting offended because CM Punk. Oh, but CM Punk is a bad guy, so Harley Race, his best friend Ace Steel, that was also good friends with Harley Race, are saying Harley would fucking scoff at Moxley being him. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just this whole little petty little bitch. Oh, but CM Punk hurt my feelings. So here's Dave defending his son right here, changing his bum.
Tony Khan made a statement that Jon Moxley is like the Harley Race of their company. And Ace Steel just flipped out on comparing Jon Moxley to Harley Race because,
Just flipped out. He just put a post and quickly, that took 4 seconds for him to type that.
I mean, he was friends with Harley Race.
Maybe he chicken pecks. He's an older dude. Maybe chicken pecks, right? The one finger, doot, while he's typing. Let me get my reading glasses. Shout out fucking Ace Steel. But Ace Steel said that he responded to Tony Khan's statement and said, count this as one of the dumbest and most blasphemous things I've ever read. Utter crap. Really infuriating. Zero comparison.
And just thinks... And, Ace Steel's Punk's buddy, and Punk probably has no love whatsoever for Moxley. But, yeah, he flipped out on Tony for saying that Moxley was their Harley Race, which, whatever. You could say whatever you want. I mean, there's a lot of similarity with Moxley and Terry Funk, a lot more than people really know, because I know both of them a little bit, and one of them a lot. And, but, whatever. So you compare, he's... 4-time champion. Harley Race was multiple-time champion. I just thought that was quite the overreaction today. Tony Khan,
a 4-time champion of AEW, or what are we talking about here, buddy? So again, he just fucking white knights, Captain Save-A-Ho, grandstands for AEW, Captain Save-A-Tone, right? And Dave Meltzer's here, responding to Sarah Stock and the Amanda Huber thing and the fishbowl drowning. It's garbage. We've beat this to death. Everybody's talked about it already. It's garbage. And I broke down why even Amanda Huber agrees it's garbage. She's just taking it personally because it's AEW and shit. But this shit is garbage. Okay? It is. Point blank. People are like, there was no blood. I wonder why. We didn't need blood. This is enough bullshit. I don't need them fighting in the crowd all bloody. Like, what are we talking about, man? This is already garbage. We all have to admit this is garbage. Like, this just doesn't appeal to the masses. It's fucking stupid. It ended the paper. It's so stupid. Nothing changed either. It's not like we're getting good storytelling out of this or anything. It's just bullshit. And so, here's Dave's like defense of AEW, and of course, going at Sarah Stock because people just voice their opinion, and then a bunch of redacts start bullying them, and Dave helps galvanize all these sickos to bully these people, right? And then all the wrestlers pipe in and go, this is bullying us and shit. And then meanwhile, this one person, it happened to Gail Kim, it happens to fucking everybody, they're getting piled on. And it's like, no, you idiots. You're fucking bullying this person. You're going hard on this person just for voicing an opinion. Who gives a fuck? This is all Sarah Stock said. You know who should stop this? Mothers with their remote control. This is worse than a plastic bag over the head. Kids are going to end up dying trying this stuff at home. It's like, who cares? That's just a valid opinion to have. And I don't even agree with it all. I think the plastic bag over the head is worse because people go, oh, well, kids have fish tanks and shit, but what are the odds, like, of sticking someone in a fucking fish tank? Like, that's an intense leap for a kid to make over, like, you accidentally put a plastic, like they say, when you have babies and shit, you don't be leaving plastic bags around where a kid can grab it. Like, that's just Everybody fucking knows that, right? So, I mean, I might even disagree with some of what Sarah Stock's saying, but why does everybody have to jump down her throat? And people are like, and not to shit on Amanda Huber, but whatever Dave's about to say, he's going to take the complete other angle. So if I may, Amanda Huber was like, well, do you know where my kid was? In bed, because it was 12 and I wasn't letting him watch this. And it's like, so you agree with her? So you agree with her. You're just mad, and you guys are leaking texts now and calling each other's names, making fun of each other's tits and stuff. No, I'm not making that up. All over like something you guys actually agree on at its core. At its core, this is garbage, and you don't want your kids seeing this fucking garbage, right? That's what we can all agree on. So here we go.
Sarah Stock.
You hear all about that?
I heard about it. I tried to ignore most of it.
She worked for AEW until April. And
she worked for AEW until April. Just instantly the smear. She worked there and then they fired her. And Dave is so warped in his mind, and sickos are so warped. They think that fucking like that is they think that that's like, well, AEW fired them. Okay. Everybody who's left or they've gotten rid of, everybody's been like, thank God. Or it's like some crazy story. Like CM Punk or Cody Rhodes or like even the Ray Phoenixes. There's always like some big fucking drama surrounding it because of some bullshit. It's like, no, that's not. When AEW releases you, that's like a badge of honor. That's like, dude, you weren't clown enough for the fucking shit show circus that it is.
Moxley and Darby Allin match. She said that kids are watching. It was the thing when they were trying to drown each other in the fish tank, and it's kids are watching this and it's terrible.
And someone corrected saying that Stock wasn't fired, and that's right. Actually, she corrected that too. Like her contract came up, or so like she just wasn't renewed, or I don't know, whatever the situation. She clarified all that. I covered all that already on the show.
And here's the deal.
Of all the things that we've seen in Jon Moxley and Darby Allin matches.
It's not even.
Yeah, that's a fucking problem. This is the problem, right? You could do this to people in this ultra-violent game called Manhunt, made by Rockstar Games, right? You old sons of bitches. And it had people going fucking. This is like weirdo shit, dude. And it's okay in movies. It's okay in this as well. Like, I don't get fucking too triggered because, again, I've even said it. Like, they're just going to keep upping it and upping it. And I even argued against Sarah Stock and said, look, man, kids shouldn't be trying fucking body slams either. So where do we really start that conversation of pro wrestling in general? But let's face it, this is like sicko indie mud show shit to steal some shit from Jim Cornette. And that might seem taboo, but I don't do that often. I don't just, say this is just indie-rific mud show and use that, right? I try to come up with my own assessment, but that's ultimately what this is. This is what this felt like. And some people are into deathmatch, sweet. Some people are into Terrifier. But guess what? Not everyone's into fucking Terrifier. I don't care. It's not as big as like Top Gun, where like everyone can just go watch that shit. You know what I mean? Shit that's more relatable. I'm sorry, not everyone likes Saw. It was a big horror franchise. It's not like the biggest horror franchise ever. And even and I'm not saying like we can't see any of this type of shit in wrestling. I'm actually not entirely opposed to the like, I'll drown you fucker, but like in a wrestling storyline, okay. People have been thrown in rivers. We've seen people fucking already in this company threaten light on fire and all this shit. To me, it's just like, it meant nothing. You didn't build to this. There's no like, this wasn't like, oh my God, the dumping of the beads in the fucking CM Punk match with McIntyre, the dumping of the tax in Mankind Undertaker. There's just moments in wrestling matches where someone does when Randy Orton went to RKO, when he wrestled Cactus Jack and he went in the tax, it was like, holy fuck, you just didn't see that coming, and it just really validated him, and it built up to that. All of the crazy sicko shit Orton was doing, spitting in his face and all this stuff, like they built up to a, boy, you're getting fucking slammed in these tacks. So like him dunking him in the fish tank, I don't care for it. I thought it was redacted, but like, listen, if they built to it, then maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like, if they built to this shit, if like Darby came down from the mountain and was like, when I was up there, I couldn't breathe or something. There's nothing you could do to me, Moxley. When I was up on that mountain, I thought I was going to quit, but da-da-da-da-da. And this might seem old school, but it's like, and then Moxley goes, oh yeah, I'll fucking drown you, fucker, or something like that in Minecraft, right? I'm not trying, this is all make-believe wrestling, right, YouTube? So I'm just saying, like, that would even be more compelling to make it like part of the fucking story. Instead, they're just trying to like parody Matt Reeves, the Batman, where he's talking to the Joker or whatever. It's just cringe edgelord shit. And then Bryan's going, after everything we've seen, yeah, that's the problem. You've done Bed of Nails, Exploding Super Boot, Thumbtack of Death, Thumbtack, Barbed Wire, Exploding Boot of Death. You guys have done the fucking needle through the cheek, the cinder block neck slam, right? The cinder block bomb. What the fuck, man? We've seen hangings with chains. Like, come on, dude. We've seen the blow torches, the plastic bags, the thrown in trunks, the body bags, the fucking fights on the train track. Like, there's nothing left to do besides delete each other off, right? Like, if this was a movie, it's like the chicken in Family Guy. They killed that fucker off eventually. Why? Because you can't do, they have these epic fight scenes, they're funny, but like once you do it all, it's not the same pop. It's just not the same pop, man. And it's like, what's next, dude? What's the next step? And then for like people to get offended on behalf of mothers and shit, like, who cares if she said, wow, mom should really keep pit bulls on chains? Because a lot of them are like, are you going to fucking get all up in arms about? You wouldn't even care. You're just mad because it's AEW again.
And it's not
That's
even
the
John Moxley.
one.
It's not even John Moxley and Darby
There was a
Allin.
taser in that match.
I know.
There were
There's a Molotov
skewers
cocktail.
underneath fingers. There was a Molotov cocktail. They've run each other over. They've tied each other behind cars and dragged them off.
What?
We still don't even know where Gabe Kidd is.
What?
He's in Japan.
But he's in Japan.
You know, the thing is like, if you're going to look at wrestling in that way, everything in wrestling is bad if kids emulate it.
Yeah, here you go. Fucking Dusty Dave listening to PWT. But no, he actually, that's based Meltzer. We'll give him a based flute for that one because he is right. Like fucking a scoop slam, dude, a leg drop, you know, none of that shit is safe.
And thank God kids are not as stupid as sometimes people may think, because
no, they shouldn't see this shit, Dave. It's not good for their fucking brains. Dave is arguing lawyers being condescending to talking about politics. Now him and Neil deGrasse Tyson are linking up and talking fucking astrophysics, and this guy's about to give us a science lesson and shit. Dave, they've done studies on this. Like, you can't fucking, this shit will traumatize. This can traumatize people. There's all sorts of shit. And I'm not one of these mamby-pambies like, oh, we can't see some hardcore shit. Again, I didn't get triggered by this at all. It's just phony, fake shit where people are actually this is the problem with AEW. It's phony, fake shit where people are really getting hurt, and the implications are like death and shit, but it's phony and fake. But then it's like kind of real because people end up impaled and with broken noses and shit. Because you guys are doing your fucking fake shit, phony, fake shit like amateurs. And then when wrestling is supposed to be, you're making shit look real. But you're not, it looks real, but you're not really hurting each other. Lance Storm explained that as well to Disco Inferno. He's like, dude, when you go to Japan, a lot of times those strong style forearms, like those guys are trained in a way where it looks so stiff and it's not. And I mean, that's Lance Storm's experience. So who's going to argue that? Like, it's just the art of making shit look painful, but it's not actually painful. In AEW, it's like, it's so phony, but it's actually painful too. It's like, what's going on here?
You really
the worst of both worlds. So I get it. People want to be up in arms, but they're just jumping on Sarah Stock because you can't say anything about the cult. Anybody who's ever had a voice in wrestling that says anything bad about AEW just gets attacked. That's all.
Actually, if I may, do you realize that there have been instances in wrestling history where children have actually killed other children? because of
Very
things they
few.
saw in wrestling.
Very few, but
But you know what it
decades
is? It's
Body
just
slams.
moves, body
Yeah,
slams,
body slams,
power
yeah.
bomb.
Yeah.
It's never they tried to light them on fire,
But bro, that's missing the point entirely. But
or they tried to
okay.
drop them on thumbtacks, or they tried to.
Yeah.
This is the problem, you fucking redacts. These two chuckle fucking morons, dude. We're getting yellow flagged for all the cusses on this one. Buddies, the Rizzler goes on this show, and that fucking Costco kid go on this show, and they go, we give it booms. Hey, John, we got Osprey against John Moxley. Boom, boom. Who watches their content? Kids. I made the joke on the other show. Kids and pedos, right? That's who watches their shit. And then they go, hey, go and watch this. That's what the fuck you're saying. And that doesn't work, man. These are kids, okay? So that's where this does deserve criticism. And that's where you could say, well, you know, this is pushing it far. It's about influence. Is Darby supposed to be hip and cool to the kids? Is Darby supposed to be the hip, cool babyface? Babyfaces in wrestling typically they attract typically more women and children. Just historically. Again, if Dave studied the business, he'd know this. So what about any of this shit appeals to women and children?
Meltzer Inferno.
It's like hard to give. It's like I'm giving history lessons. I'm in my 30s, bro. Like I shouldn't be giving Dave 50 years. You schmarmy fuck. Like how are you two morons so jaded and half-baked you can't see what this point, just like right there, the Rizzler and shit, though. What about that?
It's always like it's a wrestling move.
It almost turned into this performance of like, look, I'm getting all these AEW fans mad. I'm doing my job. And it's like,
Dave, that's what you do on Twitter. People without brains, only people who fear facts. That's you, dude. And it's almost like, oh, I'm getting these people mad. Yes, it became that because once these sickos start coming at you, you just roast them and move on. It's just funny. You just boom roasted. You just quote tweet them and fucking roast a few, then dip out. It's like, you know, Dave, you should know about this. You spend all day vanity searching your own shit.
if that's your job, you know, you want to.
That's your job, Dave,
and make people mad so you can get some attention. I mean,
that's
you're
what
not the
Dave
first,
does.
and you won't be the last. But it was
so exactly. She ain't the first because you've been here for 50 years, dude. You're projecting. This is projection of the highest order.
It was pretty sad.
Yeah, and Dave doesn't understand why they think he's sad. Now, meanwhile, she didn't go seek out her own name. She just said AEW stinks, and then everybody seeked her out, and they sought her out, and they fucking tried to destroy her and tear her down. But she's sad for stating an opinion. Meanwhile, Dave, you're vanity searching and arguing with marks with fucking 20 followers and shit. And you're selling for flutes, and you get upset and tell people that they fear facts and that they don't have brains, functioning brains and shit. When you make up stories about WWE getting AI when they fucking didn't and stuff. Like he's just such a cocksucker. So Dave Meltzer talks about Darby Allin's on a promo for Mount Everest. And he says, do not respond to Twitter. This is like the people who believe me. Meanwhile, all Dave does is respond to Twitter. A lot of people said that, but they were all people in bad faith. So everybody who responds on Twitter is bad faith, except for Dave, who spends all day more than anyone responding on Twitter to people and responding to people through other people, like Niccolo Piccolo and others. So he goes, there were people, of course, who criticized Darby Allin for leaving when the company needs him so he could go climb Mount Everest. I know a lot of people who thought Tony shouldn't have let him, but he was actually using grifter criticism in his promo. The grift. Dave doing 50% off fucking promos every month for his fucking newspaper, literally caught telling lies about AI and WWE and all this shit. Wrestlers calling him out, having a historically bad year / 2 years. And this motherfucker's calling people grifters. You can address certain aspects of it, but he used the wording. And that's where it was just kind of like, man, don't even go there. Let me argue on your behalf, Darby. And so again, here's Dave just glazing, saying Moxley had a great DQ finish against Kyle O'Reilly here on Dynamite last night.
We had John Moxley and Kyle O'Reilly, and this was a great match.
It was really good. And the other thing is they did a DQ finish, and like 95 times out of 100 when you do one of these DQ finishes, it sucks. But this one was actually great. Just because of the nature.
This was the best DQ since about 25 years ago. There was an Edge and Christian match for the tag team titles, and it was like this incredible match, and like they were right on the verge. It was done. They were going to lose, and they did a belt shot, and it was a DQ, and it was the best DQ ever. And that's essentially what they did here. Kyle keeps going for submissions, and Moxley is like he's getting out, but he gets put back in. He gets out, he gets put back in, and finally
just him being a scrub at jiu-jitsu's his fucking kayfabe character now, dude.
It's putting this ankle lock, and it's right in the middle of the ring, and he's done, and he can't get out, but he refuses to quit 2 matches in the row. So the only way to avoid it is he punches the referee for the disqualification. And I thought this was a very clever finish coming off the I Quit match.
Well, I mean, a real key to this was Bryan Danielson. The entire match is telling this story. So it's like the DQ, when it happened, it's like it fit into the story rather than, say, like the Cody Rhodes DQ. By the way, they didn't.
My God. Yeah, the Rhodes DQ with fucking Drew McIntyre. These guys are in a blood feud. They've been feuding, injuring each other. They're fucking duking it out and feuding. And it's like months-long storyline, and that doesn't matter compared to Danielson jumping on commentary real quick and just a fucking random singles match after a pay-per-view. And they're just real quick telling this story that will lead to nothing, because nothing Moxley does ever leads to anything.
On the Cody Rhodes DQ, and then on Raw, the Becky Lynch DQ. Like they did the exact same thing on both shows.
Yes, it's a terrible finish.
And it was a terrible finish on both shows. And in this
terrible. It was terrible for both shows. Becky isn't frustrated. It's a way better story here that they just threw this together instead of Becky fucking losing by countout, then just DQing herself. And then she's either going to win definitively or get beat 1, 2, 3 finally. And the roof is going to blow off the fucking place. Or just this match. In front of 10,000 people, 15,000 people. How many people are going to be there when Maxine faces Becky? Or this, where, okay, this was a good finish, but none of it matters because nothing Mox does matters.
And I mean, the thing is, the way that story was told, it was like
Danielson was just on commentary.
Good finish.
But the Cody one was worse because he was a babyface who used the belt.
Yeah, I didn't really much like that either. I got to be honest.
Yeah, I know. That was mind-boggling, actually.
Mind-boggling. There was more than meets the eye. Decepticon.
I get that one.
So, again, dude, they just can't help themselves. So the main event of the evening here, okay? MVP had this to say, and Dave had to fucking respond, and MVP says, I think one of the problems is we have a generation of wrestlers that are wrestling for an audience of one instead of the audience that's in the house because they want somebody to, give them a favorable star rating. Boom. So just calls out Dave Meltzer.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
And then Dave Meltzer responds to this, right? And Meltzer goes, the single most obvious thing in wrestling that nobody ever acknowledges. In fact, for wrestlers, it has always been about performing for an audience of one. But nobody has either figured out who the one is. I'm the one, Neo, the Oracle. I'm Morpheus, Bryan. Red pill or blue pill. What a fucking clown, man. Oh my God. Red pill or blue pill,
Best
Bryan.
guys, Tony Khan.
Holy shit, the one. I'm in the Matrix. You all don't exist in the Matrix, Bryan. I've been one battling Smith agents this whole time. Actually, I'm within the Matrix. And the people who claim it's me. Okay, so But nobody has either figured out who the one is or has the guts to say it. And the people who claim it's me show exactly how little they know about their own business. So, the people in AEW wrestle to impress Tony Khan. And Tony Khan books shit to impress you, Dave. And you don't have the guts to admit that, or you're just too fucking stupid to pick up on it. And you're such a condescending, narcissistic fucking prick that you project all of this shit onto other people. And I think that's what's going on. And again, Meltzer said what? Pulls his own card from 2021. And he goes, I don't want to shit on Britt Baker, but here, listen to what Britt has to say.
Maybe Meltzer will like it. Let's fucking do it. I already told you that's my goal.
We're all going 5 stars, 5 stars.
Oh, wait. Meltzer.
5 stars. Hopefully it gets 5 stars. She's wrestling for you. Tony Khan wrestles for he books. This is the thing. Tony Khan books and puts people on salary and gives multi-million-dollar contracts to Dave's 5-star merchants and shit. To Dave's guys that he likes to give 5 stars to. So yes, Dave, you directly, wrestlers will fucking tell you this. They've said it on the show. You directly influence the business and how people get paid and how much they get paid and where they go to get paid and all of these things. Okay? And it's not just Dave. There's other dirt sheets that do that. But Dave melts down about fucking, and again, Dave wants to go, this is entirely ludicrous. He says it's ludicrous that MVP has to say this. And it's like, are you calling MVP ludicrous? Do you just think he's Luda? Luda, it's Cuervo. There's too many of those rappers over there, Bryan. This is ludicrous saying this about me. No, like the beer and chicken guy. Right? The chicken and beer guy. Right, dude? Like, fuck, man. Meltzer, shut the fuck up. I'm going to trust MVP over you 10 million times out of fucking 10 million times here. So, and Dave also wants to shut this down when it's MVP. But then, as we'll see in the main event clip here, he likes to take credit when he books good stuff in AEW. Dave is literally taking credit for like booking shit in AEW and giving this idea. And we've seen him do this in the past as well. And we've seen him brag about this in the past. And then we've also seen him get into a fight with Bryan Alvarez where he's like, you guys are texting about, Bryan's like, you guys are texting about this. Like, the people at home need to know this. You're not saying it on the show. And Dave's like, well, I knew about it. And Bryan's like, well, good for you. You're fucking talking to Tony. You're tickle buddies. So here's Dave just getting mad. This is bullshit. This is outrageous.
So MVP was talking today. Our big problem with wrestling is everyone is performing for an audience of one. Now, the audience of one, he said, was me. And it's just like, it was actually funny when I read that, because it's just like, the funniest thing about wrestling is that, and nobody talks about it, and I think some people know it, but most don't, is that, in fact, it's always been an audience of one. And it's absolutely not me, is that person. In AEW,
he's fucking balding in such a weird way.
At the end of the day, it's like he's going like, they don't perform before the fans, they're performing to get star ratings. And it's like, that's obviously ludicrous. But at the end of the day,
that's obviously ludicrous. Who said that right there? But back to MVP. Bryan's like, this is MVP. Right? Like, oh, Cuervo. I can't believe Cuervo said that about me, Bryan. There's so many of those rappers over there, Bryan. It just made me uncomfortable. Fucking Dave, man. So, listen, man. Dave thinks he's being all like, oh, it's just an audience of one. He thinks he's being all like deep and fucking intrinsic with this take and shit. It's like, bro, shut the fuck up. And it's certainly not me. I mean, dude, Tony books for your shit because he's been an observer reporter for you or whatever. Senior editor. What was he again? He was like 13 and I was a contributor since I've been 13. It's like, okay, man. Like, this is crazy. You guys have been pen pals since he was a child. This is grooming, Dave. You groomed Tony Khan. Okay, to fucking put this type of wrestling on the air, and you know it.
Day, you're still performing for the audience of one because the fans will impact Tony Khan, who is the audience of one in AEW, and Paul Levesque, who is the audience of one in WWE. And at the end of the day, that's who you're performing for. In every company, there's one person.
Nobody talks about this. No, we all talk about it, but you don't get it, Dave. They are performing for you in a way. There are guys who do this, so you cover in the history books 5 stars, and then when you argue that they're not opinion stars, then that doesn't help either. Okay, you do have influence over wrestling. See how I can tell the truth, Dave? You're fucking nuts, bro.
And he's the guy who determines your fate. And that's who you have to get.
And yes, Tony wants to see 5-star matches, bro. He likes cage match ratings. Tony Khan and your mark ass talk about cage match ratings. Tony's taking cage match ratings to WBD execs, or at least that's the joke that's out there, the rumor, the innuendo that's out there, because he cares about them. Right there, dude. It's for you. The only reason people care about cage match ratings is because you're dumbass.
Get over to, because, you know, getting over to the fans helps. Not getting over to the fans hurts. But
yeah, so nobody's getting over with the fans in AEW. The fans are less and less and less, and then you're just getting more over with that core audience. That core audience, we argue with them every fucking day. They're out here being sickos every fucking day. You know who they are. They're your fan base, Dave. They want to see train wreck, car crash, people landing on their necks, strong style. They don't really care about the wrestlers. They say it. I don't care if AEW goes out of business. I'll just watch something else. They've said it. They admit it. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about AEW. So, you want to get over with them. They don't give a fuck about you either. That's why you have 50% off sales every fucking month.
It's always interpreted by the audience of one, by the guy in charge.
Right. And he texts you, bro. He texts you. And not only does he text you, Dave, and not only have you giggled about and insinuated, well, I really pushed for this. We chronicle it here at PWT live show Wednesday and Saturday, and Dave Meltzer dumb moment of the week every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern. We always chronicle this shit. We've chronicled it for years now, Dave, of you talking about how, well, I pushed for this and I pushed for that. And it's like, what do you mean you pushed? You're telling Tony Khan booking ideas? Is that what the fuck you're doing? Idiot. Is that what you're stooging? That you're like telling him ideas? Well, here you go. Here's Dave. People are listening to Dave Meltzer. Tony Khan's listening to Dave Meltzer. I actually didn't listen to this 30-second clip yet. Shout out Vince Russo, bro. Shout out Jeff Lane.
You know, they had to get off the air by, I guess what would have been 6 o'clock local time, because
my whole setup may have been wrong, but I'm pretty sure Dave pitched this idea.
And start the pay-per-view. And as this match was going on, it was kind of like one of those things where you could see they didn't really have enough time to do what they needed to do. And I actually thought that, you know, what would be really cool is if they just, you know, instead of ending right before, because everyone knows you're ending right before, pick up on the show and just go, we're here in this trios championship match. And then, you know, go a couple minutes, but they did not choose to do so. You know, they had to get off.
So dude, listen, he's stooging right here that he's pitching. Because why would you word it that way? Because if I said that, I'd be like, yo, this is a fucking, this would be my fantasy mark booking. I thought they should do this. Right? And they did what they did. I mean, that's cool, whatever. I would have done this. I don't know. Dave is sitting here going, I mean, and the way he's looking down and around, it's so suspect, man. He's sitting here like, well, you know, looking at his phone, seeing if Tony Khan responded to him.
The best guy is Tony Khan.
Since that day, after that shitty idea. And Dave's sitting there, he's like, oh, you know, I really thought that they should have fucking did this one idea, but they chose not to do this idea that I had. Did you text it to Tony Khan as the show was going on? And is he stooging that they ran out of time and I look like a fucking dumbass because I said they didn't run out of time? Holy shit, man. This is crazy. Let's listen to this one more time. Dave Meltzer stooging, man. That Tony Khan listens to him, or he's at least pitching ideas. And we've known this. because the way he talks about it's like a Freudian slip every time he does this shit.
You know, they had to get off the air by.
They chose not to do his idea, so it was an option. They like you pitched it to them. What the fuck, man?
I guess what would have been 6:00 local time because they had to start the pay-per-view. And as this match was going on, it was kind of like one of those things where you could see they didn't really have enough time to do what they needed to do. And I actually thought that, you know, what would be really cool is if they just, you know, instead of ending right before, because everyone knows you're ending right before, pick up on the show and just go, we're here in this trios championship match. And then, you know, go.
It wasn't even a trios title match.
A couple of minutes, but they did not choose to do so. You know, they had to get off the.
What? That's so suspect, man. Yeah. We know, Dave. We're on to you, buddy. We're on to you. You're texting Tony. You're a Tony texter. And this show is booked to impress you. And you can sit there and be fucking as mad about that and cope over that and pretend that that's not the truth, all that you fucking want. But Tony lives to serve you. And as long as that happens, dude, people are going to be wrestling for those fucking 5 stars and all of that. And that's why we clown you here, because you're dangerous for the business. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was a way too long Dave Meltzer's dumb moment of the week. Yes. I want to thank everybody for being here. Round of applause to the universe. So I think what I'm going to fucking do is I'm going to start, what I'll do is I'll answer super chats and stuff like at certain points in the show. You know, I'll do it in like segments because these go like fucking hours. And then also we have to account for, so we need an over under bet next show. I'll put a poll in the chat. How long until Dave snipes my feed? Like it's been happening, right? Every fucking Thursday, dude, double DMW gets fucking sniped once for like 5 minutes minimum, you know? So we got to get to the bottom of that. I'll get the top investigators on that. PWT's top crack team of investigators. Thank you all for being here. Chat, you guys are amazing. Thank you everybody who super chatted in or became a member. Don't forget, PWT live shows go down Saturdays and Wednesdays. Sicko Saturdays coming up. It's going to be a fun one. We are watching NXT Halloween Havoc, and there will be boatloads more news. I appreciate you guys. Hope you enjoy all the clips that I've been uploading lately from the shows and all that. And yeah, you guys are fucking amazing. I've been Phil Marks from Pro Wrestle Times. Until next time, I'll see you all in the upside down. And this has been Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. You're overdue. I just felt it's something that makes you look good, and that's cool, and you know, I'm all for it, but I think you need to tone this down because now it's getting obtrusive to the show. But they can go in the afternoon for a U.S.
Hold
show,
on a second.
As they did there, and
Dave?
they can do 180,000 buys for an afternoon show, which they've also done for All In. So
okay,
we know they can do. We know they can do big.
Can I continue this before you cut me off? We know one thing.
Yes.
We know it might have done well because it went on first.
I'm not saying it would.
Here's my thing, Dave.
But here's okay. Wait. Okay, here's the thing. Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. I mean, it didn't mean anything to me. It was just a match.
That's the problem, Dave. It should mean something to you.
Give him a quick squash win just to show that, like, you know, he's not a loser.